Hello, people. Oh, what a week it's been. If you're there, let me know. Guess what's happened my end? Because we love this, don't we? She said. Through gritted teeth, she said. Through gritted teeth. The chat's vanished for me again. This will be the death of me. It really will. They said it was in beta and they said they'd fixed it all and it was all fantastic. And I can't see the chat. So I can see my live control room and I can see there's 5 of you that in logging in right now, which is great. I just can't see anything you're saying. So I'm going... Oh, hang on, live chat. Where have you disappeared to? Enable live chat. Yes, hold on. You're just not showing me. Right, I'm going to have to go in and watch my own video to go and get it again. This is ridiculous, isn't it? Anyway, how is everybody? How are you all? Let me know and then I'll catch up on the chat when I get in there. If I log in, it'll say you're live. She said, and no, it's not. Oh, come on. Good job we're early, isn't it?
You are live.
I know I'm live. You know I'm live. YouTube knows I'm live. But it's not telling me that I'm live, which means I can't find the link, which means I've got to... Right. Oh, I think I'm there. Whee! Can even hear myself. So... Oh, it's ridiculous. Right. Yeah, Elaine's on her way dealing with her fans. If only. Yeah, not those type of fans, sadly. The computer fans going absolutely mental. Oh, Graham's there. Hello, Graham. Hello, Kim. Hello, Deb. Catching up. Oh, dear. The groomers. We don't know if Lola's ever been to the groomers, but she pretty much looks after herself. I don't think she'd be thrilled to be at the groomers.
Self-grooming.
Well, Samoyeds don't... I mean, you can take a Samoyed to be groomed, obviously, but they're not shaved or trimmed at all. The fur is the fur and it's left alone. So we never took Maya to the groomers, not even once. He did see a dog being groomed. He thought the poor thing was being murdered at Pets at Home. So we keep him... Well, we kept Maya away from it, that's for sure. Lola's so laid back, she's horizontal. So I don't actually think she'd be perturbed. I did get our new grooming brush out about a week ago. And she just stood and let me do it. And I'm thinking, is this a Samoyed? Is it comatose? But she did let me do it. But she's not actually blowing her coat at the moment. She blew her coat about 4 or 5 months ago, just after she'd had puppies. So at the moment, she's growing in her winter coat, which means there's not actually that much fur lying around. But she does figure in our presentation, so you'll be able to check for yourself. Ooh, I'm carrying on. I'm not... I don't think Lola would like to be left at the groomers, is what I would say about that. She likes her people with her. Good morning, Neil. Plus 11 hours, that's frightening. I'm glad it's not plus 11 hours for me because I'm already behind and I wouldn't want to be 11 more hours behind. What I could do with is travelling backwards in time to America to get myself another 4 or 5 hours. But it is what it is and we are where we are and it's actually 9 o'clock and we're all in. Well, we would be all in. Jonathan, where's Jonathan? Now, Jonathan does like to be first and he's not here. Or at least he's being very quiet if he is. Right, well, you can hear me, Mike. Can you hear yourself?
No.
What, not at all?
Mary had a little lamb.
Oh, not again.
His fleece was white as snow.
Turn you up a little bit. We don't want you echoey. There'll be plenty of mic when there needs to be plenty of mic. But both our fans are going absolutely mental. I've even rebooted, which I don't like to do before a live session, because there's doubtless 3 million things I've forgotten to run that I absolutely now critically need and can't remember what they are.
I can hear myself very, very faintly.
Well, I will up you when you do your Excel stuff.
Okay. Just don't ask me any questions, because then you'll have to turn me up on the fly.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, technology. Can't live with it, can't live without it.
Well, you do
Hello,
your
Paul.
bits. You do your bits and I'll do my bits.
Right, all right. Let's try that and see if that's any better for the duration. Right, okay, very quiet here. Oh, what, in the chat? In the chat? Is it quiet in the chat? I'm never quiet. You know I'm not quiet. Right, well, as I say, it is the top of the hour. We'll get on. We'll get started and then everybody can toddle along. So let me share my desktop with you. Should go blue. And then I'll be able to get my slides up and running. Secrets to which? Oh, Kim says she thinks you're buzzing. I wonder if that's my fans. If there's any buzzing right now or kind of background noise, it's my fans and I can't stop them going crazy. I know what it is because I've looked in Activity Monitor and it's something in Keynote getting very upset. Keynote's using a gig of memory and I have absolutely no idea why. But now is not the time to try and fix it, unfortunately. So, hello and welcome. What have we got for you tonight? Loads, absolutely loads. Who's heard of liquid text? Let me know in the chat if you have. Mike probably has done and has completely forgotten what it is.
I've heard of it.
Yes. Well, I'll be talking about it because there's fantastic news about it. Right, also in the chat, I'm going to be asking you lots of questions this week, so follow along here. ScreenFlow 9 has come out. Now, we've looked at Camtasia before, we've looked at ScreenFlow before, so what has ScreenFlow 9 brought that may tempt you to upgrade? That's what we'll be looking at. Now, last week, I must control my fan base more. Oh, Roger, I wish I could. It's just crazy today and I really don't. And it's been such a mad week, which you'll hear about in the week at MacBites headquarters. You'll understand why. Right, so I need to know from you, do you use screen recording software? Now, ScreenFlow and Camtasia don't actually have to be used just for screen recording. They could just as easily be used for editing any kind of video, quite cost effectively. So let me know if you've got them, if you use them, will you be updating and what you edit with them? Let me know. Then last week I talked about the Magic 8 key and I explained the theory of it and I got 4 emails this week saying please show us more. So I left it last week at what, but I couldn't explain how. This is going to sound ridiculous because I couldn't remember. It's one of those things where I'd set up a mechanism and it just worked. And if you'd have said to me, what app are you using to do that? I would not have been able to tell you. However, I'm unhoisted by my own petard. I've sorted it all out this week and I can now show you. Also, had loads of emails about the QR codes. We have some QR codes we put on slides. And people are like, why have you put a QR code on a slide, on a video, on YouTube? Because you can point your phone at it and it will read it. That's why. And people have. Got lots of some new subscribers from that. So I thought I'd show you how to do them. Because obviously they're not something that you can get... Well, you could get somebody else to do it for you, but they'd probably charge you. So there's an app for that, and I'll be showing it you. And then we've got our freebies. Then Mike is looking at Excel date functions. Is it date night, Mike?
Date functions.
Oh, not date night then. Then we've got Divi. Big news about Divi. Divi is our WordPress theme for Blog 30. So I should probably put it underneath Blog 30. Then we're going to revisit Scrivener Compile, because we're having such fun with that, aren't we, in episodes. Right. Paul says, I'm a ScreenFlow user, use it to edit screencasts or LumaFusion on the iPad. Excellent. Oh, you've looked it up, have you? Mike's looking it up. He's not heard of that, so he's looking it up. It does read it. Oh, what's that? It does read it. Yes. Oh, the QR codes. Yes, they do. A lot of people are unaware that if you point your camera phone at a QR code, it will actually read it, because for many, many years it did absolutely nothing. But now it does, and it's actually like magic. So I've warmed to them for many, many reasons, demo of which will show you why. So let's get on with it. Now, other people, if you've never been before, it's doubtful that it's broadcasting to you in HD. There is an icon, looks like that. Lower edge of your video, right hand side. Make sure you've set the best quality in there and that you do have the HD flash on it. And then you can settle down for the week at MacBites headquarters. It started off so well, peaceful and quiet. Early, and we thought it'd be cold. That's our gang. Our gang were out in force at the Armistice Day Memorial. That's our local town hall, as you can see on the right, and that's our war memorial there. You could actually see, if I'd zoomed in even more, that my great uncle is listed on there. So always a soft spot in my mind for that. Mike's got the wreath that we're laying on behalf of the group, and that's why he's at the front. Now, because Mike was actually laying the wreath, because he's in charge this year, if you recall, we were actually in the wreath-laying pen. That was the view from the wreath-laying pen. I had to zoom into 5 times to get that far. So, unfortunately, I saw the top of Mike's head as he laid the wreath. So, for photographic purposes, we had to reenact it. Not sure what that bloke's doing with the bobble hat in the background, but he's looking at me very suspiciously. So Mike reenacted the laying of said wreath. And then, this was my idea, actually, because every year we go and we do this thing. We're usually not the ones laying it, because it changes every year. But then we all go home. And I said, no, we're not having any of that. We're going to go and have a meal. So we did. We all went and had a meal. That was a bit of a farce, wasn't it? It was all booked, arranged, pre-configured, the whole thing. And we got there. The starter was lovely. And there was pretty much time for about 5 courses before the main one arrived. But as you can see there, we had finished at that point and we'd all had a grand day. So from there, I thought, good start to the week. Let's go and get some photos printed, I thought. How difficult could it be, I thought. Look, there's a QR code. I thought, I'd give that a scan. Didn't want to know. It was supposed to take you out to the App Store. And you were supposed to download an app called PhotoMe. Wasn't available. So I thought, well, that's fine. Look, there's cables sticking out of the thing. I can do that. Plugged in, nothing. Then it says Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi code's at the top, 30 EQ. Wouldn't connect via Wi-Fi anyway. So guess what? No photos. That was just the start of my week of tech fail. Who can tell me what's wrong with this? That was the time I got to bed. So Sunday night set the tone for my week. Now I was heading off to bed, but not quite as late as the time implied by that Amazon Echo, which had gone mad. Anybody spotted it yet? It's not actually July right now either. So I'm thinking, it's never 3 minutes to 4. It's not July. So I thought, well, what would cause that? Well, if you check out the Wi-Fi logo in the top right, no Wi-Fi, or at least that couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi. So I thought, I'll leave it alone at this point. Now, I'm going to reveal the full horror of this in a blog post, so watch out for the link for that. Quite right, Graham. But I would have thought, with that having been turned on, that if it was November when the Wi-Fi disappeared, the odds were it wasn't July. But apparently not. It went absolutely mental. So that meant I started Monday with a job. Yeah. I was actually thinking I could do with a quiet week. That's gone so well, hasn't it, Mike? I had to start with a wireless. I thought, well, if one device is down, where are we with the rest of it? The full horror of it became clear. Now, what had happened was the network had finally self-destructed. Again, full details in an upcoming blog post. Now, it wasn't as bad as that picture implies. That's not actually my network, and obviously that's not actually a wireless network. But it felt like it was that bad. And I have seen my network look very similar to that. All colour-coded, mind. What had happened was, you may remember that I bought some Linksys Velops. And the idea was I was going to transition the Apple device network over to the Linksys Velops system because Apple no longer make networking equipment, which means as bits break, I don't really want to be trying to replace them with Apple kit. And if I'm going to replace them with something else, I may as well transition to that system as we go. That was the plan. And the Linksys Velops system was what I went for. I even managed to set them up. Now, I had to do this recorded because obviously we needed to compress the time it took. But these were the devices, and you set them up with a phone, and we covered the whole process in a previous show, and they were working beautifully until the entire network just melted down. So we had connectivity, which some of you have asked before. Do you rely on Wi-Fi totally, or are there any wired elements? Well, there are wired elements. We have a backbone coming off our main router, which goes to a series of switches. If you don't know what these terms mean, don't worry about it. Black boxes with magic inside. But a switch enables you to plug one cable into it and then plug maybe 8, 16, 24 computers into it. That is what a switch looks like, all neat and tidy, like mine. So our desktop computers are absolutely fine. We have connectivity. We don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi, apart from the fact that the majority of the devices are Wi-Fi. And when you think about how many there are, more than I thought there were, it was going to be a nightmare. Anyway, it took the whole of Monday. As I say, full details in the blog post. But the upshot of it was we had multiple issues. Virgin, who are our ISP, had reset their box, which had reset all of the configuration I'd put in it, which in turn impacted the Apple network, which in turn had a problem, which in turn took the Velop network down. Hence, no wireless connectivity. But by the end of Monday, it was all purring along again happily. So I thought, right, my week can start on Tuesday then. At which point I realised, not quite. We have an entire system of NetView security cameras. There's the lovely Lola. She really was relaxed at that point, wasn't she? We have them pointing outside the house, and we have them inside the house for looking at Lola, making sure she's okay. They'd all gone down as well because obviously they're Wi-Fi, and because they're security cameras, it wasn't a case of just turning it back on and they worked. You needed to go through the whole setup process. Did I mention this quite a few? We have back garden cam. We have conservatory cam, front door cam, hall long shot cam, landing cam, office cam. There's a lot of them. So Tuesday was basically spent putting back what shouldn't have been broken. But obviously that was a priority because who doesn't want to sit and work and watch Lola on your Amazon Echo while you're doing it? She was relaxed, bless her. Look at this. Every position under the sun. Then she moved downstairs. Then she curled up in the corner. So I had to zoom in there. That's why that one's not as clear. But she twigged. She absolutely twigged. Yeah, and she was sick of it in the end. So it looks like I need to install another camera behind the cupboard for full coverage. Okay, let's have a look at that question. Right, Hey, Jonathan! Whoa, you forgot it was Friday. You must love your job, Jonathan. If you've ever forgotten, it's Friday. Right, did you go fully to the Velop system and use as an excuse to ditch the Apple kit completely? Pete, you're ahead of me. What I'd done was we had the Apple kit and it had been working for quite a while, I would say easy 8 to 9 years. And when it was working, it was grand. But what happened initially was a couple of the devices wouldn't connect, but the Wi-Fi wasn't down. So multiple troubleshootings later, I discovered that the devices that weren't responding were attached to one specific device. So I took that device out of play and then everything was fine. But at that point, I'm looking at the number of Apple devices that we've got. I'm just going to go back. You might as well look at her face as a backside. And there really weren't that many devices. I think we were left with 3 devices. So we had the main router coming into the house and we had 3 network devices relaying the signal. But the problem is that we've got here, it's a fairly big house. I have no idea with square footage. I know Americans say how many square foot a house has. We don't do that here. We tend to say how many bedrooms. We've got 3 large bedrooms, but we've also got an extension at the back. And when the houses were built, best reasons they would know, I do not. They put slate in the walls, and the signal doesn't go through slate very well. So it could well be, with only 3 devices, that when you walk around with your network checker, there are hotspots, right next to the router, right next to the switches, but there are also black spots as you wander around. That was why I got the Velops, to add them to the network initially, with a view over time to taking the Apple kit away. That was the plan. But I discovered that the Apple kit was causing a problem itself. Once I'd solved the other 2 problems, and I had the Apple kit brought online, I could tell from the pace of the flashing lights. And if you're wondering what I mean, you remember years ago, there was dial-up networking. And when you used to dial into your ISP, there was a lot of squeaks. Jonathan, you're not old enough, you probably don't remember. But it used to squeak like a fax machine. And you got used to it, and you could tell if it was going to fail. Well, when I look at a switch, I've looked at them for that many years, that the pace of the flashing lights, I can tell if there's something wrong with it. The lights were going mental. So I figured I had a problem with the Apple kit. So at that point, I made the decision. I did not want to redo this network twice. I only wanted to do it the once. So we've pensioned off all of the Apple kit now, and we're totally Velop. At the moment, we have 6 Velops. They say you need 3, but we have slate in the walls. So we've got 6. But I actually have another 3 to install. And I've got a spare, just in case. So that's where we're at the moment. And apart from one blip last night, which was something else, I'm hoping, it's been, and I'm touching wood, it's been all right ever since. So as I say, full details in the blog post, far too long-winded to go into, but we're up and running. We are up and running with all of the network devices, the wireless network devices, all of the cameras, as you can see. Glad you like it, Kim. Lola Cam. We actually have, on my phone, people didn't believe us when we went to church on a Sunday morning. What are you doing with that phone? I'm watching the dog. So I renamed one of the cameras Lola Cam. And we say we've got Mass Cam on, and we sit there with that propped up in front of us. And she actually gets more views than the priest. He's not happy, but what can you say? So yes, Lola Cam. But I also needed to redo all of the Amazon Echoes. I actually struggled to make a list of them because we've got a couple that are broken. The screens on them are shocking. And what else was the problem? I just couldn't remember because they're all different models. We have actually got all 3 that are on there, but we've also got 2 with a 7-inch screen, 2 with a 5-inch screen. We've got some silver ones. We've got a tall silver one, a short silver one. Anyway, there's 13 of them, which made me wonder because we don't have 13 rooms. I'll work on that. So they all needed reconfiguring as well. So that took the whole of Tuesday. I had all of the IP cameras and all of the Echo devices. If your Echo device has a screen, it's an absolute doddle. You do have to type your Wi-Fi password in. Obviously, no copy and paste. And you also have to type in your Amazon password, which was when I thought making it 104 characters long wasn't the best idea I've ever had. Tell you what, though. It's seared on my brain right now. Don't need to look it up. So all of that was done. We went into Wednesday. I thought I'll knuckle down and get some work done. Then what happened? Apple brought new kit out. Well, I needed to stop and look at that, didn't I? No, we have not bought. It's obscenely expensive. But my thoughts with it we're almost back to the size of the first Mac laptop I bought. I've only ever had 3 Mac laptops in 12 and a half years. No, 13 years. 13 and a half years. I bought a 17-inch MacBook Pro in 2006, and I absolutely love it. I loved it. I love it then. Loved it then. Love it now. Just wish it could be updated, but sadly not. So a 16-inch is quite tempting. Then I saw the price. So Wednesday, bit of a washout in the end. Would love one, but it only really makes sense if you put the RAM in it, and the RAM is obscenely expensive. The one I had, you could change the batteries, you could do all sorts with it. You could upgrade to an SSD. These things are a sealed unit, can't do a thing. So you've really got to give Apple every last penny you've got for the best kit at the beginning. You can't sort of incrementally update it, unfortunately. So, bit of a sad panda on Wednesday. How have you done? Have you done much smart home stuff? Not much, Pete, to be honest. Got a couple of smart plugs, but a lot of the equipment these days, because of EU regulations, it isn't a case of leaving it turned on. You actually have to physically turn it on. It's not good enough to leave it in a plug and have the switch on the plug. Certain things would probably work, but they're probably not the things that I use. So I'd not really done that. Are you managing the chat? Because I've got a show in there, so I've just done it. And I have got a couple of bulbs that came free. But what's strange about the bulbs is they were either bayonet fitted or screw bulbs, but the standard bulbs. And all of the sockets that we've got in here use little LEDs. So I haven't really used that either. Mainly cameras, I would say. And with the cameras, I've got different brands of camera, but I would recommend NetView if you're going to do anything like that. Or at least, if you go for something cheaper, you need an app to see it when you're out on the road. And some of the cameras actually move. They've got like a little motor in them, and you can use the phone to pan round. And that's very useful, especially if it's for a dog where the dog's moving. But the issue is, so I've got these different cameras, and then I bought some NetView. You've got to go into a different app for each one. Now, in the house, you're fine, because if you've got an Alexa with a screen, so I monitor the front door. If somebody rings the front door, I just get Alexa to show me who's at the front door. Let's just say not many people get in. The DPD man's welcome, obviously, but he tells me he's coming. For me, it was the different apps that was a bit of a pain. So when there was a sale on about a week ago at Amazon, one of these weird 4-day hidden gem things, I'd also got a voucher from NetView, and I bought a couple more cameras, which is why I've got so many NetView cameras now. It worked out cheaper for me to put 2 cameras in place, like we have Hall and Hall long shot, than putting in one that needed a different thing. The other thing that's very different with the NetView is the quality of the picture, as you could see from some of those. Some I'd zoomed right in, but a lot of them I hadn't. So that's really what we do. And we are getting Alexa to do more. But I think the thing with Alexa is it's a little bit like DOS back in the day. You need to know what the commands are to make it useful. $5,500 in 1995. Oh, I'm loving that. $6,000 is not the amount of money that I would particularly spend on a laptop. It's really now intended for somebody where that is their main computer. But even so, that's obscene. For me, the limit on a laptop would be about 2,000, 2 to 2.5 if it was a Pro model. But there's no way that I'm putting that in it. I looked at the 8 terabyte SSD like you, Paul, and yeah, that's not happening. But the RAM I thought was even more obscene. I have seen the price of a full iMac Pro. Not good. Not good at all. Again, I was really tempted with that, and I was looking forward to actually buying one. Before BIM 1.0 came out, which was now about 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. I didn't like the form factor of the round one, the trash can Pro. Oh, you're talking about an iMac Pro. I did look at the iMac Pro. In fact, we made a decision when we bought our iMacs that we'd buy 2 iMacs when they came out. The iMac Pro was due out 6 months later, and we said, well, we'll leave the spare one and we'll get an iMac Pro. And then we saw the price of it and was like, yeah, we won't be doing that. What we'll do is we'll just spec up a standard iMac and replace it every 3 years. Right, let's have a look. I've got a 2018 MacBook Air, but it depends what you're doing with it, I guess, Neil. What are you particularly doing with it? I deliberately don't do video or try anything like that with it. I did produce an after-hours show on it when I was away, and I didn't really have much problem with it. So I guess it just depends what spec it is, etc., etc. But I'm not tempted for the amount of use that my laptop would get. I mean, I'm using it right now. It's in front of me. It's in front of me when I'm monitoring the chat on it. I could just as easily do that on an iPad. And apart from actually Wednesday, when I needed to work downstairs and away from my beloved iMac. I'm not away from my beloved iMac that much. So the air's been okay for me. I'm sure if I was processing videos and things, it would be a bit... I'd feel the pain. I certainly felt the pain in my 2012 MacBook Air when I came to do stuff like that with it. ScreenFlow was non-existent. If you win the lottery, you might buy one. You know, if I won the lottery, I might buy one. A lot of people, can get a discount. I mean, you say OAP rates, but seriously, there are a lot of ways to get a discount from Apple. NHS workers, a student in the family, not even you. If you work in any way involved in education. And I think the discount's around 7.5% to 10%, so it's worth having. Another way, of course, is Refurb. Refurb will give you a good 200 to 250 off, and they are like new, so you might as well. Oh, a smart thermostat. Our smart thermostats are our Mac computers, because the office is the warmest room in the house, and we don't particularly like it much warmer than it is. Let's not talk about the Mac Pro. No, you need to sell a kidney for that one. You need to convince your wife. Okay, Pete. Tell her it'll save work. You'll do it. That'll do it. I really did not like that, what I call BIM 1.0. I really didn't like it. It would be nice to put it out of the way, because as I'm saying to you now, I can hear the fans on my iMac. If all that was on my desk was a monitor and the computer was underneath hidden away, I wouldn't have that problem. So from that perspective, it would be awesome. But I really didn't like the form factor. I felt that the stuff that went inside it would need to be specialist stuff for that computer, whereas the model it replaced was fabulous. It was a huge box. It was engineering masterpiece. I actually went into an app store and into the Apple store, and I used to go in to do one-to-one training. And they said, you know what, let's dismantle one. And I got to fiddle around with it, and I thought, this is just craftsmanship. It was beautiful. And I thought, you could literally, if a hard drive went, just plug another one in straight away and you're up and running. And there was slots. You could have fitted 16 drives in there. It would have been beautiful. But I left it to get the upgraded model, and when they upgraded the model, they changed the form factor and didn't like it. Oh, dear. Oh, she won't divorce you, Pete. She won't. Less work. Or handbags. Doesn't work for me, but apparently every other woman on the planet, it does. I'm not sure what that 16-inch weighs, and I didn't think I was that worried about carrying the 17-inch around, which was really heavy. But obviously we're used to iPads now, and I think maybe portability would maybe bother me. I would say it would depend on the power of it. But right now, not in the market, not happening. Graham, Alexa offered me the whisper mode the other day, and I have no idea what it is. But I think I was trying to get her to do something and not wake Mike up, and she said, would you like to turn on whisper mode? And I thought, what? I must look that up, and I didn't. A bit of a Luddite. Not good. Not with handbags, she won't be. Trust me on that. Every woman. Apart from me. And maybe Kim. Don't know. Kim, handbags? Yes? No? Anyway, that was Wednesday. We then went on to Thursday. Thursday, there was a lot of banging about and not much action. Do you remember the saga of the lamppost? The one that got hit by the taxi. That's it now. Yes, I know. It looks worse. I thought that. It's 3 weeks on. We've lost a cone. Somebody has stolen a cone. The tape's way more weathered than it was and isn't actually doing any good at all. It's just wafting in the breeze. Worse still, with the weather we've had, which is a lot of rain, the concrete base is lifting, as you can see, literally lifting off the floor. From the other side looks even worse. Apparently, we're not supposed to be concerned about those exposed wires. The ones that are really exposed? Those. Now, given the weather, I did wonder about the logic of exposed cables and imminent biblical rain. Looks like we'll just have to see how it goes. If we're not here next week, you'll know the two didn't go well together. We are... I'm trying to think, can I... Did I put my mouse there? I did! And of course I've got my toy. We're here underneath that red warning there. We are there. So not looking good. Is all I'll say. Not looking good at all. Be prepared to evacuate immediately. Oh, you whisper to her and she whispers back. Oh, Graham, I'm going to have to try that. That's a good idea because I think particularly for the one in the bedroom, I would love to use it as an alarm clock, but, you know, most of the time, Mike's already asleep. So there's no point going in there saying, Alexa, before she actually responds to you. I'm going to try whisper mode. There you go. No handbags unless a special occasion. That's me, Kim. I have one bling bag, and that's it. Students nicking cones. I've no idea who nicked the cone, but the cone has gone. It's biblical here at the minute, Kim. It's very, very, very bad. We have, although that looks terrible on there, where we actually are, there is a flood warning in place for the River Mersey. But we are on fractionally higher ground. I wouldn't expect that we would have to evacuate, but seriously, 3/4 of a mile up the road, they might. So yes, it's not good. Anyway, on to Friday. Could things get any worse? Well, funny you should mention that. Doesn't feel like 3 months since my last visit, but today was Hygienist Day. Oh, lucky, lucky me. Now, Kim has become my weekly reminder and inspiration. Not to mention the fact Mike and I have long held competitions for receiving a gold star from said hygienists. Now, actually, we don't share the same dental practice. I'm sure how that happened. Mine's fabulous, and he pays more. But the competition between us rumbles on. Now, with previous dentists, I swear I could have used a wire brush and they would still find fault. So, today, did I manage it? I didn't get a gold star. Know what you're thinking? I got 2. She poked and she prodded at my gums with a sharp stick. That sharp stick probably has a proper name, doesn't it, Kim? But I'm calling it a sharp stick. Anyway, she poked and she prodded until she had to admit defeat. No bleeding, no matter what she did. Yes! Success is all I'll say. Success. So today was a good day. That means I don't have to go back. Thank you, Kim. Mike's going next week, so we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
I will get 1 gold star.
A perio probe. That was it. It's sharp. It's very sharp.
Oh, no, it's sharp.
I always think that's cheating. If your gums aren't bleeding, why poke them with a stick? You know, if you've got an alligator sat there, would you poke it with a stick if it's asleep? No, leave it be. But she poked and she prodded and she was disgusted and I was thrilled. Yes.
The way I look at it...
no one can hear a blind word you're saying, but I can turn you up if you like.
The way I look at it, and Kim won't like me for this,
right,
is that I'm paying for the treatment, so she can give them...
Mike's logic, I'm not sure how much of this you can hear, but Mike's logic is he's paying for the privilege, so let her clean them. Not good. Not good. Oh, well done, Deb. Yay. We're all good here, aren't we? We are all good here. Now, that obviously we are now here, Friday. So why am I talking about tomorrow? Because that wouldn't be the week at MacBites headquarters, would it? It would be tomorrow, the 16th of November. Why am I talking about that? Well, if we go back in time to Friday, the 16th of November, 2018, it was the first after hours. We are 1 tomorrow. And we've done 49 shows in a year, which is nothing short of miraculous, including YouTube premieres where I'm with you in spirit, if not body. Yes. Yes, it launched to an unsuspecting audience on the 16th of November last year, born out of our frustration, as we've said before, with Apple during Apple Live keynote events. For years, we'd had a live chat during those events, but Apple started piddling on our parade. So we threatened, let's have an event without an Apple event. And we did. And we called it After Hours. And the rest, as they say, is history. Yeah, that was the very first one. I can't even remember what we covered. But I looked at the show notes and it seems we'd just bought kit. I'd got a new iPad Pro 11-inch. I'd also just got my MacBook Air. We were talking about cases and smart cases and stuff because I think the cases were something like £170 and I wouldn't pay it. And I got one for 17. That was popular. So that's what we were doing. So it's our birthday tomorrow. We're 1 year old. So glad that you're all coming along, because without you, there would be no show. So thank you very, very much. So let's get on with some sexy new toys. Oh, incoming tech. Let me know if you've heard of liquid text. Mike's best guess was he has, but can't remember it.
I can, because I've just looked it up.
That's cheating, Mike. If you've looked it up, it's cheating. Right, liquid text is an app for iOS, and it's for viewing PDFs. Doesn't sound very exciting so far, does it? Trust me, gets better. What it can actually do, and I can sort of talk you through it there, and then the next bit it will explain. It shows you your pages on the left-hand side of your iPad screen. On the right-hand side, as you can see, there's little bits that are highlighted with arrows on. Looks interesting. Also, in the middle of that, where it says P29, let me get my drawing tool back. Where's my squiggle? That bit there. What these are, these lines, all of these, is folded up pages. You can actually collapse pages, and then you can use that little bit there to expand those pages again. But even better than that, as you can see here, you can select bits. So all of that, no, that's not what I want. Back you go. All of that there is selected, and make an excerpt of it. Now, it says auto excerpt, but you can also make a selection like that and then drag that bit over to there. And what you've done is, at that stage, you've made an excerpt. You've highlighted part of your PDF and you've live dragged content away from it to make a summary of it. Even better than that. Right, once you've done that, so you've done moving it over there, that is what the excerpt would look like on the right-hand side of the screen. That little bit there is a live link back to the content. So if you tap on there, you go back this way and you get taken to that point in the document. All of these are live links as well. So each one of those would link you back to a specific place in your document. It's amazing. Even better than that? Well, all of these, as I've said, are excerpts there, and that's another one, and that's another one. So they're all separate excerpts, and they can come from different pages. But what you can do, that little bit there, that's like a symbol, that's the glue that links those together in the note-taking area on the right-hand side. Trust me, it's fabulous. So, it's available. It's been available for a couple of years. I've used it, but I must admit there was something that put me off. If I get used to being able to do that, I'm going to want to do it where I am happy working, which is my desktop. Guess what? It's coming to the Mac. Oh, this is good. So this little video is just giving you a preview of the Mac version, but now I've explained it, you can see what's happening. The summary is on the right-hand side. Each one of those that has a little number on it there, where they're clicking, is taking them back to that part of the document. As they then drag and drop across, just notice when they drag and drop across, that they drag and drop it across and then they lift it slightly onto the one before. So cut this bit coming up now. Drag, drop, but you're hovering over and then pulling down slightly. That's what glues them together. It's amazing. And it's coming to Mac. Now, I know some of you are thinking, don't care on Windows. Guess what? It's coming to Windows as well. The Mac one is going into beta in about 2 to 3 weeks. The Windows one will be available, and this was in a tweet from them, early 2020. It really is the most amazing app. I will be covering it when it is out. But I thought I'd give you the heads up it's on the way in case you want to get onto the beta program. Right, what have we got down? I'm looking at the questions now. I've looked at a paper-like guard, and I must admit, I've seriously thought about buying one. They are hugely expensive. And I've got more than one iPad and I know what's going to happen. I'll put it on one and then I'll need it for the other one and I'll end up spending a fortune. But I might have to do that because I do use my pencil quite a bit. So I might do that. I did find one that was on offer once. So it might be an idea if you are about to purchase to think about Black Friday. Don't have enough reason to learn to use it properly. I think that's the thing with it. Lawyers use it a lot, students use it a lot, but I think a lot of us consume PDFs, but we don't actually necessarily do that with it. Of course, we can make our own PDFs. So you could PDF something and then drag it across. We'll see. We'll see when it comes out. We'll have a look at it. Is it Catalina or it? I'm not sure, Neil. They haven't actually said yet. That was literally all they put out. So I don't know, but we will find out in due course. Right, next, ScreenFlow 9. So I see that we do have ScreenFlow users, and I know it's been mentioned before, ScreenFlow, Camtasia, ScreenFlow. And one of the things I said was, I had both for a good reason, and we'll come back to that. Version 9, usually it comes out every calendar year, I would say, for the last few years, but not necessarily 12 months. So there's been 14, 15 months between the new version, which is 9, and the previous one, which is 8. This one was released on the 12th of November. You can get it from telestream.net/ScreenFlow. Now, one of the good things is there's a trial. The trial version is also fully functional. There is no time limit on using it. It's not a 30-day trial. You can use it forever if you want. The caveat to that is exports will be watermarked until you purchase. That's it. But that does not necessarily mean that that trial is useless. Not in terms of exporting it. In terms of it's activated software. And you might want to record on 4 machines, but only process on 1, which is pretty much what I do. You could use the trial version on the other machines. It doesn't put the watermark on at the point of recording, it puts the watermark on at the point of exporting. So as long as the export happens from a registered activated version or the version from the Mac App Store, you are done. Right, so that's where you can get the download from there, but let's have a look at the new features. Because this is the most important thing, isn't it? And we'll actually have a look at these. The first new feature, it sounds so simple when you say it. It sounds completely obvious. But this is the first time in 9 versions you've actually been able to do it. They say when one screen isn't enough. The reason behind this is gaming, where people are they're using gaming across multiple screens. But to me, if I'm trying to do a course on Keynote or PowerPoint, I've always had to record multiple screens, and I've done it with 2 separate apps. Hence, me being very deep into ScreenFlow and Camtasia, because a lot of the time I need multiple screens. Well, this does it now, so let's have a look at how it does it. Right, new version of ScreenFlow. Also mention at this point, as you can see, you are not limited to having just one version installed. I have 6, 7, 8, and now 9. This version says ScreenFlow. It does not say ScreenFlow 9. The version that I'm using on this machine is purchased directly from Telestream. I will talk about purchasing shortly, but if you buy it direct from them, the app is called ScreenFlow. If you buy it in the Mac App Store, it is called ScreenFlow 9. Either way, whatever it's called, it can run quite happily alongside all the other versions. The single caveat to that is if you want to keep 8 and you are buying from them, rename ScreenFlow 8 ScreenFlow 8 before you install ScreenFlow 9. Right, let's get into it. So we are in there. It has opened helpfully on the wrong screen, as ever. Right, this is here what you will see the first time you go into it. You'll notice send diagnostic and usage information. Interesting. I hadn't noticed that was turned on. Bye-bye. You've got tutorials, you've got a whole what's new things, so you can go off and have a look at those. Then you've got the standard things that you can do here. So new recording, and that's where we're heading off right now. Normally you'll see something like that, only odds are it probably won't say Vivaldi where it says recording the audio from. It lists all your audio devices in there. So normally you will see like a microphone or a webcam or something like that. So now I've got it on the webcam. The webcam is right next to me. Good evening, Charles. That's why you can see it bouncing up and down. Right. But the important thing, multiple screen recording. Well, at the top, you don't actually have to record at all from a screen. You can turn it off completely. That way it would record audio and your computer audio. Maybe you want to record video from a camera that's attached, or even an iOS device. Now, the reason it's saying there's no iOS devices there is because I don't have any plugged in. I'm now contemplating the logic of plugging one in and seeing if it throws its toys out of the pram, which wouldn't surprise me if it did, but you know what? We'll give it a go. We'll give it a little go. Right, I've plugged one in. Let's see what it says. Wants me to trust it. It's cranked up iTunes. Eventually, it would be nice to see if something appeared up there, wouldn't it? Let's have a look. Well, it's there. It's not saying it's there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of it and let's just see if we can actually get that showing. If not, it's probably cables or it just doesn't like stuff. No, it's still not saying it's there. So a little bit finicky with iOS devices, but point we're making here, multiple screens. One of the differences between ScreenFlow and Camtasia already is that Camtasia cannot record the desktop and iOS. ScreenFlow can. So if that's important to you, ScreenFlow's the way to go. Now, when it comes to multiple screens, you put a tick in the record desktop from. Then you choose your first screen, which is probably going to be your iMac screen, your main screen. But it doesn't have to be. So sometimes I'm recording something on my secondary screen or my tertiary screen. If you want to record from more than one screen at the same time, then you hit the plus button and you get another instance of the record desktop from option, which helpfully has my secondary Mac monitor on it. Then hit plus again because I've got 3 screens and I get the third one. So I can actually now record from all my screens. I'm impressed that they've allowed you to just add screens rather than say 2 screens. So if you've got 6, just keep going. So that's a really cool feature. Now, obviously to see it, we need to see what it does with it. So I'm going to press record and we'll move a few things around, etc. Not actually got that much to see on this machine at the moment. Let's have a look. What have I got open? Oh, I've got that. There's a good start. That's my YouTube. So that's how you see this one's public and that one's live at the moment. Yeah. And all of these are scheduled. It's amazing, isn't it? Right up to the 20th of December. Oh, amazing, amazing stuff. And we'll be looking at my blog later. So there's my blog. Let's load that in. Have a look at that. So what's happening is you've got ScreenFlow recording everything. All 3 screens. I can't actually show you the other 2 screens. Well, I probably could actually. Oh, let's do some magic we've never done before. There's an idea. Right, so this is the main screen that you're used to seeing. I was just going to say, you can't actually see my other screens, but you know what? You actually can. So if I flick over to my left-hand screen, where I control all of the audio, that's what that's looking like right now. I can also go over to my right-hand screen. Oh, this would be very naughty because it'd be picture in picture in picture in picture in picture. But there you go. And then I'll go back to my main iMac screen. And hopefully all of that will toddle in and won't have caused any kind of problem. But when you're recording the screen, up to this point, it's been a single screen you've got to choose. Some people who were making videos about Keynote and PowerPoint and they were talking about the presenter view needed to do every video twice to do that if they only had one application. Right, so at that point, we've probably recorded enough. If I go into here, there will be an option to stop the recording. I will lose that. I'm out of the way. And there is what we get. Now, obviously, my screen's very tiny at the moment, but you can see what's going on. Interesting. I had this the other day. I don't think this is actually ready for prime time yet, but let me explain what it's doing. Right, first of all, on the canvas. The canvas is huge, and on it you have your 3 recordings laid out next to each other. Now, one thing you might find, which I am finding, but it's nothing to do with ScreenFlow. This is an Apple Mac problem. This recording here is actually my left-hand screen. This one is the right one. No, this one's the right one. And this one was the middle one. So, something going wrong there then. Well, that's to do with the Apple Mac. When you reboot, it randomly assigns the monitors to the right or left. What it does is it just picks up the first one and puts that in a place, then it picks up the second one and puts that in a place. But not a crisis. You can actually switch them round quite simply. Of more significance, that's actually my middle one, and this one is my right-hand one. I have no idea why it sized them wrong. What I would have expected to see is that the centre one is correct, that's 1600 by 900. This one is correct, this one is not. And I don't know why. Because they're identical monitors and they're set up identically. Obviously, what I can do is put that on top of there, scale it so it matches, and then put it back. And you'd think that that would be right. But it's actually not in terms of quality. This one is displaying at 33% of the size. This one at 33%, but because I had to scale that one, I had to double it. So there is actually something wrong with what it's doing. But doubtless they'll sort that out as they go. Right, what we've actually got though. Now my monitors are all lined up properly. That's what they should actually look like. On the timeline, I've got the audio that I told it to record from my webcam. And then this one is the left-hand screen, this one is the right-hand screen, and this one is the centre iMac screen. And as I move along, you can see I've got it synchronised as I move things from one to the other, like that one. I bring that in from the left to the centre, and you've got it in real time. It's all synchronised up. Very, very, very cool feature. The only problem with that as is, you wouldn't want to process that video out like that as it is, because you've got so much black space around it. If you were actually using this for real, what you're far more likely to do is to go into the canvas settings and choose something reasonable at 16:9, like that one. And then OK. And what you'll see is the black bit is the canvas. The rest is the stuff hanging off the canvas. So if I wanted to showcase on here my main computer, it was that one, my main screen. So we'll scale that up so we've got that there. But I might want to show what's going on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. And I can do that picture in picture. Like that. So that's my left-hand screen. Let's set that to, what would 20% look like? Not bad. So let's make that 20%. Let's move it in. Let's make that one way less than 20%. We try 10. That looks about right. And bring that in. There we go. So now I've got 3 screens on a scale of video I can produce out to YouTube, and you can see them all. You can also, of course, because these are independent recordings, cut and fiddle around with them as needed. So, for instance, if this one here I only needed at a certain point. So, let's say I want to show that I'm sliding that across, but once I've done that, I don't particularly need this video. Then trim it back, put a fade on the end of it, and what that will look like when you play it is that. It fades away nicely. At that point, maybe I want to fade that one in. So drag that to there so it matches up with it. Put a fade on the beginning of there, and let's have a look at how that looks. So it's exactly the same as editing any other video. It's just that you are now juggling one track or one recording per screen. That is a really, really, really cool feature. That one I was impressed with. I've had a workaround for years, but I am still impressed with it. Right, let's leave that where it is and go back in and have a look at the next feature. I did wonder about Blue Friday, Graham, but I thought, well, never mind. There will be deals on Office 365. There always are. For the last 3 years, I've bought it during Black Friday. It will be between £47 and £49.99. Like clockwork. It will also be available more than once, but you'll probably only have 5 to 6 hours to get it. What I do is in the app on mobile, you can go and see upcoming deals. And you can see the upcoming deals for pretty much the whole of the next day. Just scroll through it and you can put remind me and it will send you a ping when that goes on offer. I've never known them run out of Office 365 subs. Now, Echo units are also guaranteed to be on offer. Not only will the Echo units be on offer, let me know which one you're looking for, but they will also have offers on refurbed Echo units. I think I have bought a refurbed one. It was like new. It said when you're buying it, there may be sort of slight issues, like a bit of a scratch or something. There wasn't. It was like new. It was even in plastic. And there was good saving on that. We love our Echoes here. Right, the next thing is timeline tools. Back to ScreenFlow. Timeline tools on a palette. Now, I looked at that and thought, you've got all the timeline tools you need. Why would you need any others? But I think I see where they're going with this. New feature number 1, recording multiple screens, was very much aimed at screencasters. This feature, in my opinion, very much aimed not at screencasters. Let's go in and have a look at this one. Right, what it means is, what it's referring to, and the interface of ScreenFlow hasn't changed since version 1. I said this to Mike the other day. If you were using version 1 and you got in a time machine and you came to today and you looked at that, you'd say, yep, I can use that. You might think, where's that come from? But there's very little in the way of huge changes that have been made to that. But this time we have 2 new toys. We have new toys down in the bottom left. We have that one there, which is select, zoom, hand, blade, and select track select. And we've got that one as well. I will explain what these do. If you are using any other editor, and it could even be an audio editor, and I know some of you do use audio editors, what you've always done before in editors like that is you tend to change the tool. Maybe you switch to the blade tool and you cut like that. You've never been able to do that in ScreenFlow. What you used to do in ScreenFlow was go to there, and what I would tend to do, say, just press the T key, and that would cut it. You'll notice there's a slight difference. That cut that track, but it did not cut this track, whereas the blade cut all the way through the lot. But you've never had tools before, so I'm just going back just to show you these tools. So there is a zoom tool. You click and it actually zooms in there. You can even draw around it. Now I'm loving that. I'm loving that. Right. Better still, so I can keep going and zoom in more. Just select that area and that's what it zooms me to. My audio editor used to have that and I loved it then and I love it now. Even better. If we look at that mouse pointer there, that's unfortunate. Can I do that? Yeah, that'll do it. There's a plus in it because obviously you're zooming in, but it wouldn't be much use if you couldn't zoom out. And there is actually, if you hold the Option key down, an option to zoom out. So what they're calling a tool editing palette thing is this thing at the bottom that you can click on and change the mode of the tool. So the hand tool would enable you to pan around it. What else have we got? We've got the track select. So if we do that, it selects everything on the track. And we've got the blade, which I've shown you. And we've got the select, which is the normal way of working. And of more significance, because to me it would slow me down going down here and doing that, you've got shortcut keys that you can use to enable those features. Now, if you imagine we've done some editing on here, and I've thought, oh, we don't need that, and we don't need that. And I go to my media bin, and I look at them and I think, oh, screen recording, blah, 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 doesn't tell me a thing. Not a thing. Right, well, I can see by scrubbing in this one that that's the iMac screen. So I would go in and I'm going to rename that, make it much easier to work with. And this one is the right-hand screen and this one is the left. So you've always been able to rename it. That's not anything special. But what you can now do is while you're working down here, I'm at the beginning and I think, right, I've deleted everything off the timeline. I'm going to start from scratch. You can use that plus at the bottom to put media on a track. And that's why I renamed it, so it made a lot more sense. I would start by putting my iMac on the track. And then maybe I want one for the right-hand side. So what that plus button at the bottom does is allow you to put media on the track without having to go to the media bin. I'm liking those features. The zoom has my heart. I love that. I really, really do love that. Right, let's go back in and have a look at number 3. Who knows what proxy editing is? I bet Graham does. Graham's a video editing whiz. Right, proxy editing allows proxy resolution. So what it's allowing you to do is use media that is a lower resolution during the edit. And then once you've edited it, switch that out for the high resolution. Now, the idea is it would allow users to edit more demanding content on less powerful systems. So I just mentioned when we were talking about a MacBook Air and the fact that I wouldn't process video on it. I have processed video on it. It was agonising. What this feature would allow me to do is edit on lower quality stuff. And thus, the edit would be faster. You wouldn't have that constant lag in it trying to reprocess it so you get to see it bang on. Proxy editing is fabulous. Less significant, I would have thought, for screen recordings, which makes me think that the new features in ScreenFlow 9 are 50-50. Half of them are aimed at people who create screencasts. So hence, yes, record all your screens. And the other half seem to be aimed at video editors in general, making it a more general video editing tool, which I think is a good way to go because I've always used my screen recording tool for editing standard video. Let's have a look at that because I didn't get very far with this, I'll be honest with you. Because I thought, right, there's my media, where's this proxy business? So I right clicked on it, ooh, proxy business, not suitable. Okay. I'm guessing that's because it's screen recording. So to effectively demonstrate that, I'd need to go away and create the kind of videos that Graham edits with proper video in, where you've got full quality and proxy quality and all the rest of it. But technically speaking, that is how you would actually do it. I don't think I would use that too much in recording screencasts. But as I say, if you have standard video in there, then ScreenFlow is becoming your friend. The features that they've added to this, I'm thinking as I'm looking at them, they're trying to get ScreenFlow to be more comparable with, in people's minds when they talk about it, comparable with Final Cut rather than Camtasia. They're trying to get away from it being solely a screencasting tool. So there's your proxy stuff when it works. They've also added, again, another feature that makes me think, yep, it's aimed at people creating videos rather than just screencasters. You can preview and trim before you put your clips on the timeline. Now, I must admit that sounded very exciting to me, and then I tried it and I was less than thrilled. But this is what they mean by it. Let's say I want to put on here my left-hand screen, but I only want part of it. The workflow at the moment would be drag and drop it onto a timeline somewhere, which you could drag and drop it, or you could, of course, use this new option down here and just add it to the timeline. And I only want it at this point when we switched over. So as that moves across, I can fade out at that point. There's a few options for that. I can drag this handle back. That would work. With it selected, so it's got the yellow edge around it, I can press the E key, and that means end end that clip there. And my clip is now edited, if you're with me. But this is a new way. I was hoping for more. Let's see what it does. Let's undo. So back to where we were. We obviously, with this left-hand clip, need to edit it. We can scrub through it. So we have a little scrubber at the bottom there. You can with a... Just try the mouse. Oh, no, it's not having that at the moment. But what they mean by this clip editor is show in clip editor. So click on that and it opens up an entirely different window on the left-hand side. And you will notice there that there is a little bit of instruction. That's not on my video, that's actually there. So welcome to the clip editor. You can preview the media files and start performing quick edits all from one place. So it gives you that. Now I'm taking the tick out of there because I will need to demonstrate this again in the future and I would like that to be there when I do. But you can then just close that. So this half of the screen on the right hand side is your canvas that you're working on. The one on the left hand side, and you can scale them as you can see, is your clip editor. You are going to edit. And I was thrilled. I was excited. And I then had a look around with it of what it could actually do. And I started moving this and thinking, oh, I could do this and I could do that. And actually, no. All you've got are these three buttons at the bottom. The first one will add it to the timeline. Then you've got to mark an in point or mark an out point. So my in point would be right at the beginning, so that's fine. And then I would need to find my out point, which is about at that point. So I've marked an in point and an out point. That's all I can do. I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't. What I was hoping for was slightly different. But once I've got my in point and my out point, I can hit plus and it will add that to the timeline. Pre-edited. That's the word they'd use, pre-edited. To me, all you've effectively done is a very long-winded crop. You've just trimmed the end off and you've had to go into a separate window to do it. What I would have found way more useful, which this does not do, is this recording that we have of the left-hand, the recording of the left-hand screen. If I never want the rest of that, I'd like to edit it in the clip in here and it remember that. But I've done it over here and I've added it to the timeline. Fantastic. I thought at that point, great, because I've edited the clip from the clip bin, it knows that that clip should always only be that long. So I can add it to the timeline again, I thought. So I dragged and dropped it and the whole thing came on and I was disappointed. So I thought, well, maybe I need to do it a different way. So go down to the bottom there and add the left-hand window. No, it's not having it. So the problem that I feel I have with this, and is the problem I have always had with this, is I add content and I'd like it to be edited. I want to lose the end of it. And then I want that to be reflected in the bin. But the bin is always the full media. There's no way to get this edit that I've done stuck with the clip in the bin. That's why when I have titles and credits and music coming in, that I can't have the stuff in the bin. I have to have it on the timeline because there's certain things that only get retained when a clip is on the timeline. The bin can't retain anything. So it's a lovely idea, but it's not quite there. Good evening, Simon. So let's head back in. That was number 4, wasn't it? Then there's number 5, new clip effects. I must admit, with the clip effects, I'm like, really? I'm thrilled. But I guess people use them. So it's click effects, and what it's doing is letting users customize the cursor. Now, I must admit, this in Camtasia is not even there. So if it was critical to me, I'd be using ScreenFlow for this. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting rid of this because we didn't have the mouse on the left-hand screen. We had it on the iMac screen. So let's get these out of the way. So we've got a very simple recording there. And as I move across here, we can see there's the mouse. The mouse pointer is there. But it can be very difficult to see that when you're recording or when somebody's watching a video. So what you can choose to do is go into here and make some of these changes. So there is a click effect. You can have radar, and you can change the size of that. So this is changing the size of the click, that one. You can even change the colour of that, how long it takes, and if it's blurred or not. Now, I'm not sure if I actually, did I click? I think I might have done. There we go. There it is at the top. So it's that radar, that's red. But I can actually go into here and change that. So if I want it to be yellow or green or blue. Ooh, lurid pink. No, stick with red, woman. Right, so it's red there. You can change the size of it. So there's the size actually changing. And how long it takes. You can even have it blurred. Blurring doesn't actually make much sense to me, but there you go. Right, you've also got other options. So instead of radar, you've got invert. Not seeing how that's actually going to work, to be honest. But no, you could add a sound to it. Most people, when they're recording, trust me, this is me, you don't want any sound when you click. Makes the edit an absolute nightmare. So these are things that they've actually added for you. Actually, with the pointer, of more significance to me is not the click effects. It's things like this that you can actually make the pointer bigger in post. Not only can you make the pointer bigger in post, you can actually change the pointer. So down here, you can change how that actually looks. Now, those to me, no, I don't want a square replacing my pointer, but there's actually an option to choose an image. So you could completely change the pointer. But we'll put that back to default, and we'll put that back to the default of 100. But that's something that they've actually added in there. So that is ScreenFlow. We'll save that just for the sake of changing it, put it in there and close it. All right, let's get back in here. Because next, of course, if you're thinking of purchasing, there has always been two ways to purchase since the Mac App Store appeared. Now, ScreenFlow is a Mac-only application. They don't seem to have any desire whatsoever to make it available for Windows. Not quite sure why, because their other applications are available cross-platform, including Wirecast, which you might not know, but we are using right now. So, buying it. Now, I do believe, yeah, I think this price is spot on now because they keep fiddling with it. Right, if you're buying as new, it doesn't matter. You can buy it from Telestream or the App Store, same price, you're good to go. There is a difference between them though. The version from Telestream allows you to install on one machine. It needs to be activated. Used to be 2. They are now saying 1. It might be 2. Who knows? But it's activated and it does talk to the mothership incessantly. The App Store version can't do that. So you could install it on as many machines as Apple let you do that. Technically, they tell you that's 5, but practically they don't stop you. Just has to be your Apple ID. The other thing to think about when you're looking at which way to upgrade or buy from new is how fast do you want updates? You might think, well, it doesn't really matter. You always get faster updates from Telestream, and depending on how backlogged the App Store is, that has been known to be, I think the longest was 7 weeks. And during those 7 weeks, when Mike and I were using this as our primary video recorder and editor, the version that was installed from Telestream had been updated and it was fine. But the version from the App Store was stuck in review and it was not fine. Every time you exported every video, some of the effects weren't right. They were really poor quality. And there was nothing you could do about that if you'd got the App Store version. You couldn't export from the trial version because you get your watermark on it. Nothing to be done until they deigned to put it in the store. What we had to do here was Mike edited on the version he had, and he had to hand it over to me because I have the version from Telestream to export it. So sometimes it could be very important. If they break it and then take 2 months to update it, you're not going to be happy. What I do to accommodate all these scenarios is I have a version from them that I have updated, and the upgrade price is around the $39 mark. Obviously, you will see there is no update available, no price, update price available from the App Store. That's a problem. So I qualified for an upgrade price from Telestream, so I bought it. Now, what the App Store actually do, their argument is Telestream, Apple don't provide any upgrade options in the Mac App Store. They're quite right. Strictly, that statement is true. Practically, though, it's not. They're just not trying hard enough. Proof in the pudding? Well, if you search for upgrade, I know for a fact, Pixelmator, we've discussed this 2 or 3 times, they do an upgrade bundle. What they mean by that is, you've got Pixelmator, we'd like you to transfer to Pixelmator Pro, here, have a discount. How you get that discount? You buy the bundle. You complete your bundle. And that way, Pixelmator Pro can be on sale in the App Store for $50, £50. But if you use the upgrade my bundle option, you only pay $20. Well, in effect, that's an upgrade, isn't it? If you go and search for upgrade bundle, there was hundreds of them. Lots of other app developers have got on the bandwagon and are doing it that way. So that didn't wash with me. But as ever with the week I've had, it got worse from there. I did a bit of research. Right, I had version 8 installed. There it is. This was Tuesday night when it was released. In fact, I think it was a little bit before it was released. ScreenFlow 8, there was an update. This is to version 8, the old one. So what I'm thinking is, as I'm looking at that, they fixed some bugs because it's the last update for ScreenFlow 8, because 9's out in an hour. So I updated on a couple of machines. And then I went to my next machine to update. And that was what I saw. There's an update available. So I read what it said, and I clicked away, and I clicked on update. And that was the message I got. The developer has removed this app from the App Store. I thought, just a minute. I've bought that app, and all I'm trying to do, I'm not looking for an upgrade, I'm looking to update it. Slight audible difference, but big difference in terms of money. How can you possibly pull that from the store? Well, they had, because they'd replaced it with version 9, which means, oh look, $38.99. I thought, just a minute, not on this, not on at all. It took some time between version 8 vanishing and version 9 appearing, so this took about an hour. Now, I wondered if I should just wait for the last update, because at least then I'd be able to roll back to version 8. Remember I said they can be installed multiple times? You can have multiple versions. So I thought, well, that's what I'll do. I'll wait, and that's fine. I want a version I can roll back to should the new version prove to be problematic. But this is where they have you. The lack of a dedicated Apple-handled upgrade option in the Mac App Store means that the only way they can appease people who've bought it in the Mac App Store is to put it on offer, because remember I said NA, not available? Only if you're quick, is it? They will put it in the store for a few hours. That's the best price it will ever be, and you buy it then or you don't buy it at all from the App Store, unless you want to pay the full price. But I'm at the stage of thinking, just a minute, I need that last update to version 8. I want that first and then I'll upgrade. But on another machine, I hit the buy button. Then I got the really annoying snotogram message about, are you sure you want to buy it? Because we're not going to give you your money back because we're Apple and we don't trust you. But anyway, I still hit buy. It downloaded. it says open. And I was fine on that machine, but I deliberately left the other machine, the one I was waiting for the update to 8, if you remember, alone. Because that price disappeared. And it was instantly $59.99. So if I hadn't bought it, I would be without a paddle. 20 hours later, it went to $129.99. So you can see on Tuesday it was $38.99, on Wednesday it was $59.99, and Thursday it was $129.99. So that was a little aside about buying it. I bought it. I was still waiting for that update, you know, the one to version 8. Now just imagine I hadn't bought it. I'm waiting for that update. I go back to the machine. I run my updates. Whoa, where did that go? Now, as I said, I deliberately purchased the version 9 update on a different Mac because I wanted to see what happened with this last update to version 8. I wanted to see if it would ever appear. But it vanished. It completely vanished. So I've had a Mac computer that I did not have version 9 installed on, and it was stuck. It was stuck at 8.2.24. I could not get the 2.5 update. I wasn't pleased. I had to think about it. You like living dangerously. Oh, it gets worse. Charles, it does. I decided there was a scary manoeuvre. And the manoeuvre was scary because that message, remember, was this has been removed from the App Store. The scary manoeuvre, the only one I could think of that might solve my problem, was to delete it. Seriously. I've got an app that they're saying I could no longer download, and I'm about to delete it, which I did. I trashed it. Now, I could afford to do that for 2 reasons. Your mileage may vary. I had already bought version 9, and it's doubtful I'll be using 8 again unless there's a crisis. Second reason I could afford to be pretty blasé with it was I already had 8.2.25 backed up from another machine. And I'd backed up 8.2.24 on this machine. So I emptied the trash. Scary beans. I went back to the page for updates. Obviously, once you've uninstalled it, the update would vanish anyway. But I didn't try searching the store, nor did I look for an update. I went back through my purchase history. And as you can see there, ScreenFlow 8, bought on the day of release, 1st of August last year. You should be able to click that cloud button and download it. I did. Looked hopeful. Eventually, it had downloaded it. I had one more thing to test, which was that. And I had got 8.2.5. So, I thought it should say 8.2.25, but never mind. It was 5, not 4. The previous one was 4. That's absolutely fine. But I think that's naughty. Very, very naughty, because if you've only got one Mac and you're in any way less technical, you could assume you have to update. But you've got all of the information now. Let me know if you're going to update. Right, next thing I'm going to do is presenting with the Magic 8 key. This was something we talked about last week. It's what happens when I present with Keynote. It works with PowerPoint. How all this started was I needed the ability, when I am doing what I do now, what you're looking at right now, I need Keynote to vanish and come back and vanish and come back without doing this kind of manoeuvre. It works, but that's not the point. It's messy. We don't like messy. So many years ago, I found an application and I thought, whoa, that's a good toy. It was called Snap. And what it enabled me to do was make a global shortcut key that hid an application in a snap, I presume is where the name came from. So you use this shortcut key and any app disappears. Use the shortcut key again, it brings it back. Problem was it wasn't getting much in the way of updates, and macOS updated and it stopped working. I found another app, Activate. It does what it says on the tin. It did exactly the same thing. But of course, both of those were another application to manage. And if you'd configured it on one machine, you have to go to another machine and you have to do the same thing again, or nothing worked. And the same thing happened. There was an update to macOS and that did not get updated fast enough. So this was the point we were at last week. I was aware of all of that last week, but I couldn't remember which app I'd made the Magic 8 key in. But it was actually Alfred. So I will show you how I did it in Alfred. The reason I couldn't remember was also do it in Keyboard Maestro. So that was my alternative. So let's go and have a look at the Magic 8 key, which, I've just done again, Magic 8 key, and how it actually all works. So in Alfred, wrong screen, back you go. Right. If I go in here and all I'm doing is looking at the workflows. These are Alfred workflows, and this was one I made. And all I actually want it to do is, it says here, launch apps / files. And there's the Magic 8 key. And if you remember, I said I'd picked 8 because it looked like a pair of glasses on its side and I want to see it, hide it, see it, hide it. It's actually quite simple to do in Alfred. There are benefits to doing it in Alfred, which I will talk about. But that is what makes it work. If we open that up, all you really need to do is give it a hotkey. You only then need to do one more thing, which is tell it which application, and that's it. It's pretty simple. So we'll make one, because in this list in here, and I do use it for quite a few apps, toggle tweetbot on and off, and desk scribble. So that is the lower 3 keys. So Control, Option, Command S. If I do that, we'll bring up the app we had up last week. There we go. That's my whiteboard app. And again, it toggles it on, it toggles it off. So we'll bring it back and we'll close it. Don't want too many apps running. And also snag it as well. So I've got all these things set up, but you'll notice, isn't one for PowerPoint. Let's go run PowerPoint. Let's go get a PowerPoint file and see it working with PowerPoint. I'm going to make a copy of that, which means I've actually got some slides. So in PowerPoint, what I would need to do, I might actually be able to even show that. Let's have a look. Did I hit the right key? 5. I thought it was F5 to play. Have they changed that? Yeah. Well, it's not. I wonder if it's because Keynote's running and it doesn't like it. Let's have a look. Oh, it is doing. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. What is interesting with this one, as opposed to Keynote, is PowerPoint's only taking 2 screens off me. You're wondering, aren't you? Keynote takes all 3, but this gives me all the screens. So there we go. There's me going through my presentation. I can hide it. So that was one option. I could hide it, but obviously to bring it back where I don't have to do this, where are we, PowerPoint, is messy. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So let's come out of PowerPoint and we will put PowerPoint on the other screen. She said, on account of the fact it's now lost my mouse pointer. There's my mouse pointer. Right, let's get this out of the way. So we want to do what we've got for Keynote, but we want to do it for PowerPoint. Right, so we need to bring in one of these. The first thing you need is a trigger. Something to tell it to do something. Don't worry about the something yet, just some way of making something happen. And obviously, if you don't want any interface work going on with it, then it would be a hotkey. Now make it something that is not in any application. Don't make this Control and S. It won't work. I used to have it on Control, Option, Command, H. That clashes in Scrivener. It's diabolical. Don't do that. So make it a really tricky shortcut key. I'm going to go for something really tricky. In fact, I'll go for that one. Now, that one is 4 keys and 8. So it's Control, Option, Command, Shift, and 8. But that is going to work with PowerPoint. Once you get used to it, it'll be second nature. So I'm saving that. At the moment, that's not wired up to anything. So I've got a hotkey flying around and it's not wired up to anything. What I need to do now is look at what I want to happen. And that's what you've got here. You have actions. So you can open a file, show the file in Finder. You can do all sorts of things and they're all listed in the actions. You've got utilities that you can put in there. You've got outputs you can put in. But you'll notice that in the actions, there is one to launch an app. So we will click on that one. You then need to tell it which app. And there is no way there to type that in. So what you'll need to do is to bring up your applications window. Here's my applications window. And search for PowerPoint. There is... No. It's Microsoft PowerPoint, just to be awkward. There it is. And all you need to do is drag and drop that up there. So we've told it what. Will that work? Well, at the moment, there's no glue between these things, is there? No glue. Let me move these down a bit so we've got some room. Let's move all of those out of the way. So the hotkey would be over there, and that would be there. But the two actions, the action and the hotkey, not glued together. Very simple to do. Just drag and drop that out. The glue's on the bump. And you pull it out. Simple as that. So we'll have a look at that one. Pass through arguments, related apps, That's fine. Does that match that one? It does. Let's have a look at this one. That one's Keynote. This one's PowerPoint. But there's one difference. Toggle visibility for apps. That is your friend. At the moment, it won't work. The Keynote one works. That one won't work unless we put a tick in the box. Because what you're saying is show and hide. And what you've done with that, now, the hotkey and that, the action, is you've replaced a complete app. You've replaced, in my case, it was Snap, and then it was Activate. And as I say, there are huge benefits as to why you would do this in Alfred or why you would do it in Keyboard Maestro. So it's done. Let's test it. So we can come out of Alfred. Let's bring this back. In fact, you wouldn't need to see it. It would be off screen like my Keynote is usually, because we want it to be completely seamless. But what I would do at the start of my presentation is actually start the presentation. And no, F5 isn't working. I think it's something different on the Mac, which is very annoying. I have had it working on F5. It's just not working at the moment on F5. Right, so let's play the presentation. So I am in PowerPoint, and I now want to do a demonstration. So I'll go through a couple of slides. Oh, let me show you, says I. And I do that. Oh, it's always working for Mike. It would be working for Mike. Yeah, you're not doing the demo. I'm doing the demo. That's typical. Right, I've used the shortcut key. I can actually do other things. It's not just a case of toggling it on and off. Obviously, you guys should be used to me by now doing other things. You know, I would go away and I would do a demo or whatever. So let's bring this back on. So I am doing other things. PowerPoint is not the active app. And then I can bring PowerPoint back and carry on as normal. But one of the niceties is actually nothing to do with the plumbing, because that's the plumbing done, that's it. But just in terms of looking professional with it, I go in and go out. So I'm out and I'm in. I go back to exactly the same slide. And that could be a problem, because you have said, let's go in and look at the demo. And if that slide said live demo, you're going out to that slide, and again it says live demo. So here's what you need to do. I've got a presentation that I can actually show you. So at the moment, let's get to this. Let's hide that. I'm going back into Keynote so I can come out of it. So my Keynote's open on the other screen now. What I'm going to do is open another presentation. I have a completely separate presentation based partly on tonight's presentation. the ScreenFlow 9 part of it. The reason I'm showing you this is I deliberately in that presentation went in and out a lot through the new features. So let's do that little bit again and see why it would have been a problem. So I would be in my presentation and I'd be talking to you about new features, and I would say, so let's go and have a look at the first new feature, which is recording multiple screens. And I would do that, and we would go and we would look at multiple screens, and when we'd done, I would go back in. And I'd be going back into that slide. But actually what I'd be saying is, let's look at number 2, timeline tools. And then, of course, I would do that again. I would go out to it, I would show you that, and then I would go back in and say, oh, let's talk about number 3. So from a practical perspective, what I actually do is between these slides, I actually put another slide in. Now that is obviously a ScreenFlow 8 divider slide. It's got a master slide of its own. All I do is change that to a black slide. Then I've got 2 options. I can either go through and do that again, making sure I change it, or, and I need 3 more, Command and D, Command and D, Command and D, and drag them into place after the other slides. Now, when you're looking at the presentation, you look at that and think, that's a bit messy, there's extra slides and they're black. But at the point of delivery, it works. So let's get back into it and present it. So we're talking about Snap. We're talking about, hang on, have I got the right slide? No, I haven't. I've got the wrong presentation. That's the presentation we want. There we go. So new features. Let's look at feature number 1. Move on to the black slide, come out. Show feature 1. Back in, move on to slide 2. Out. Show the demonstration. In, move. Out. In, move. Move. Out. Back in, move. Don't I make it look easy? Mike goes giddy every time he sees me do it. It's practice. When I first decided I was going to do this, I was like a lost kitten and it was a nightmare. But now it really is second nature. Move, out, demonstrate, in, move. Go on to the last one. Out, demonstrate, back in, move. So when I see a black slide, I know I should be doing a demonstration. So the second I see the black slide, I'm out. When I go back in, it always takes me back into a black slide and I just move on. And that was really easy if you've got Alfred. Well, let's come out of that presentation because we are done with that one now. Let's lose that presentation. There is another way of doing it, like I've said, with Keyboard Maestro. Can't actually remember, you know, whether I had wired it up with Keyboard Maestro because I can't remember why I was doing it with Alfred. Let me have a look. Globals, global macro group. This is my global macro group. And I should have something in there, shouldn't I? Can I do a search? That would be clever, wouldn't it? For Keynote. No, it looks like I've deleted it. That was clever of me, wasn't it? All right, what I would do to do that. You add another macro and call it something useful. So toggle, I'll put PowerPoint. Right, and give it a new trigger. So again, it would be a hotkey trigger. This is almost identical to Alfred, to be honest with you. Let's give it a shortcut key, which will move it down there. Add an action, and it will be an app action. Activate a specific application. Yeah. And the trick with this one, so every app that does this has a similar option, just worded slightly different. It's not Finder I want, it's PowerPoint. Right, activate all the windows. If it's already at the front, leave it at the front. No, 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 no. Think about it. You're looking at a slide. And I'm going to use this shortcut key so you are not looking at a slide. So if it's already at the front, hide it. Right, that's a different shortcut key. But let me get PowerPoint back. There it is. It's on this screen. I'm going to put it there. Let's get that running again. And let's use that shortcut key. Hide it, bring it back, hide it, bring it back. So it doesn't really matter which application you use. They all do a similar thing. Now at this point, I've got Keynote open on the other screen and my presentation's not running. If you want proof of that, here's my presentation, not running. But because I've got it anchored to the other screen, all I need to do is activate it, and there's a shortcut key to rerun the presentation. So I started off with Snap, I moved through Activate, I've settled on Alfred. The reason that these weren't the best thing was that I haven't got time to fiddle, and I'm worried that these apps are going to go away. Now, luckily, if Mike's paying any attention at all, I think the links are in there. Did I put the links in?
I don't think you did.
Oh, I put them somewhere. Clearly not in there. He'll find them for you. I think these are both now free or very inexpensive. My problem with the pair of them is you can certainly use them if you're not worried about them dying. But both that one and that one, I was worried about them dying.
Snap and Activate.
Yes. Activate's definitely free. But the problem is it's not been updated in years and it will stop working at some point. But they're your friends if you don't want to fiddle around like I'm doing and you're not worried about it dying. But for me, Alfred was better because it makes automation incredibly easy. Drag, drop, 2 blocks, glue them together, done. Also, everything that's in Alfred is synchronized between the 2 machines, or however many machines you've got. And the same's true of Keyboard Maestro. It's all synchronized between the machines. The difference between Alfred and Keyboard Maestro allows you to do even more amazing things. But if you haven't got Keyboard Maestro, but you happen to have Alfred, then Alfred will work perfectly well. Now, as you know, my main use is Keynote in live sessions. Nothing annoys me more when I'm watching a live session and people are presenting in slide sorter view. Seriously, it's 2019. Try harder. I know if you've only got a single screen, it's difficult because you can't see the chat. Well, right now, I can only see the chat because I've got another machine in front of me. But what I can't see, which is critical, is I can't see my live broadcast suite. My internet could have failed and I would be none the wiser until the Velop started screaming, obviously. You just have to know your system that well that you can trust it. So if I see somebody presenting in slide sorter view and they haven't even hidden the toolbar, my back's up before we start. My view of you as a professional is not good.
I had to do that the other day.
Mike had to do that the other day. And what was your reason for doing it?
Explain if you want to turn me up.
I can't turn you up from this point, but go on. Because I can't see my broadcast, can I? Just a minute. Let's get you on. Let me know if you can hear Mike as he regales his tale.
I was delivering Mac training at work. I was using my work Mac connected to my USB monitor, and when I ran Keynote PowerPoint, which is what I have my slides in, it automatically uses the other screen for the speaker's notes. And I didn't want to see the speaker's notes because I didn't actually have any speaker's notes. What I wanted to see on the other monitor was, like you, the chat from Skype. I don't think there's a way in PowerPoint for Mac for you to say don't use the second screen.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I don't use PowerPoint, but let's have a look. I'm surprised it's changed because it used to use 3 screens. So let's go into it. Let's get it up. There we go.
So I thought of you the other day when I was delivering it. In fact, I was delivering it from here. I'm surprised you didn't turn around and notice.
And criticise you?
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look. Is it in the preferences or is it in here? I'm looking at the slideshow settings, so surely it would be in the slideshow settings.
If I go to slideshow, play from start, there you go. You've got the two things.
And they're on the wrong screen.
Yeah, but you can swap displays.
Yep.
But it still doesn't give you that screen with nothing on it. We've been through this for years.
I know.
And they haven't changed it since 2011.
I know, and it annoys me as well. Right, slideshow. Who have we got?
Now you can in the presenter notes you can basically say don't use slideshow, but then it mirrors, so you've still got the same problem.
Always start presenter view. No. Oh, hang on. What does that do? Let's have a look at that. If I could get it playing at all. Right. Nope, you're right. It mirrors. It's lying.
Yeah.
In your circumstance, if you can't get the chat somewhere else, I mean, I would say try harder. You're a professional, for crying out loud. You'd need another device, which is what I'm doing here. But I just think, I mean, in your situation, a work scenario, I can understand it, and you just have to accept it because of the equipment limitations. But if you're passing yourself off as a professional presenter, then try harder. There's nothing you can't do virtually, in my opinion, that you couldn't do live. So these applications were made for live delivery. They were not made for online delivery, and that is a bugbear of mine, and I have moaned about it for years. But you can still work around it. You've seen it work with Keynote. You've seen it work with PowerPoint. That's not the limit of it. It would do exactly the same in any other application. Excel, Word, doesn't matter. Where it might make sense for you is note-taking apps. I've already got Alfred. It was a launcher, Second Nature, so that's where I put it in there. But I just didn't want any distractions in live stream. That was what it was all about. Anyway, let's go and have a look at QR Factory. This one's really cool. Right, I've had lots of people saying to me, these QR codes, how do I use them? What do they do? It's amazing how many more subscribers we've got by putting a QR code up there. It is. You may not know because you've seen these for a while, but that used to have black background. Now it doesn't. It's transparent. That one used to be black and white, but now it's orange. Because I've worked with this app and it's amazing. So let's have a look at it. Let's go into there. QR Code Factory. It's incredibly simple. And I don't know if you're aware just how many things you can do with QR codes. But across the top here, it gives you a list. You could embed, so it's a little bit like steganography. You could embed text in a QR code. So if I put in there my secret message to the after hours folks, what's happening on the right hand side as I'm typing that is it's encoding that text in that graphic. Now while that's on the screen, while you can see it, let me see what I can do at this end. Where's the phone gone? Behind the iPad. Right, let me see what I can do in terms of sharing this with you so you can see it. Right, I've got my phone in front of me. So let me show you that you can see my phone. There. Hang on a minute, wrong one. Webcam, that's what we want. Webcam there. So that's the webcam showing you the code there. And this is me holding my phone over it. And the second I do that, I get a message at the top, which you can see. And it reads the message to you. So it's secret messaging.
Neil says there's lots of audio noise. Do you want to turn me down?
Oh, that's you again. Right, should be all right now. That was Mike. Right, so there's your secret message, which is rather cool. Obviously, it gets better than that. So let me go to picture in picture so we can see both. We'll leave that there for the moment, like that. When it's relevant, I'll hold my phone up again and we'll see what it can do. So that's the first one. Now, at this stage, let me show you all the things it can do, because there's no point showing you the output of it until you've seen what it can do, because you might be thinking, I'll never use that. And then I'll show you something and you'll think, oh, I'd use that. The next thing you can do is an email. So you could actually embed an email address in. So let me put mine in there. You could CC it to people. You could BCC it to people. You can pre-configure the subject line. So let's put a suggestion for MacBites after hours, if I could spell. And then put in there, I've got an idea. And then you can put in what your idea is. And that you're looking at there will do exactly that. Let's see if we can get that happening. So hold that over it. There it is there. I can't even see what it says yet, but there it is. Let me see what that's actually saying. Compose an email to Elaine Giles. And it says in mail, but yeah, we can do that. Whatever. So I've gone into mail. And that's what it looks like in mail. So the entire mail message, the email address, and I've got an idea, is all in there. And then all you would have to do, what's a good idea for something we can cover that's cool? Let's put Scrivener. We've got lots of Scrivener stuff. There we go. So I've got an idea, Scrivener, and then all you need to do is tap to send, and you're done. And that should actually come in. There you go. And now it's come in. So it's in my inbox right now. It's amazing, isn't it? It is so cool. And QR codes are something that's been around for a while and hardly anybody's using them. Now, what I do with them a lot is a URL. So I could put in there the MacBites URL. That should work quite nicely. Come on, MacBites. Yeah, not twice. There we go. MacBites. And that is the MacBites QR code. You can do more than that, though. You can do a location. Didn't show you that one, did I? Didn't show you that. You should be trying these. You should be trying these wherever you are. I've just covered up the chat as well, so I can't actually see you chatting. Oh, you just scanned it. Excellent. It's very good at capturing it. It really is. There's things that you can do to change the look of it, which I'll be looking at, but it's very forgiving. It really is. So if I just hover that over it, it comes up and says, do you want to open that? So let me assume, yes, I do. It goes away, it gets my browser, and it loads in the site. Cool. Cool beans. So let's go back to the camera and let's go on to the next one. The next thing you can do is actually put a map in. So let's say I wanted to send somebody a map to Old Trafford Stadium, home of Manchester United. So I'll put that in. There it is indeed. That's it. And what I would need to do with that, again, because when you scan these QR codes, you've no idea what they are. It could be any of these. So that one's got a message on it that's saying opening maps, I think. So tap on there, presuming that's Apple Maps, and there it is. That, oh bless, look, that actually shows you how close we live to Old Trafford. On the posh end, obviously. 4.8 miles away? 4.9 miles away, but I wouldn't fancy walking. So the blue thumping dot is where we are, and the red pin is Old Trafford. Very cool. The next one is a phone number. I won't do that. I don't use the phone. But basically, you just need to put a phone number in. So, I used to know United's phone number, you know. You know that one where you rang and it gave you recorded messages about tickets? No, I don't. Yeah. Let's just put 111-9999. And that is a QR code. As you hover over that, it will ask you if you want to ring it, which I'm not going to do. Then you can do a person. You can fill in all the information about the person, or as much as you want to share. And that would work in there. Very, very cool. So let's put, I know who we can put. We can put MacBites Siri. He'd be thrilled. Title. Star, I think. Star of the show. Nickname Siri. So I'll put that in there. And if I'm setting anybody's Siri off, I do apologise. Company MacBites. So as you start filling in information, that barcode automatically updates over there. Job title. Star of the show, really. There you go. Etc, etc. And then when you put that... So is anybody going to do this and add MacBites Siri to their contacts? There you go. Add MacBites Siri as a contact. These are cool, aren't they? But what we really want is real-world examples. Let me take your mind back to what happened this week. My Wi-Fi went belly up, which meant I was juggling around with passwords and generally piddling for hours. And I thought, just a minute. Oh, just a minute. There's only two pieces of information that your network needs. An SSID, which is your system identifier, and your password. So let's say I've got my super fast network. That's a great name for a network, isn't it? Either that or, TV licensing. And a password. So my super secure password. Not the best, but ever. What it generates is a QR code. And if you were to hover over that, it would say, do you want to join that network? So I thought to myself, I wonder. Having just rebuilt the entire network, I wonder. It works. I've tried it. Mike came in. There's a QR code on the wall. I said, the new network configuration? He said, yes, I'll update all my stuff. I said, just point it at that and you're done. Couldn't believe it. The best use for that I found is, obviously my stuff's already on my network, but I have a guest network. The Velop has the ability to create a guest network where they don't have any access to your internal network. All traffic is routed out of your network to the gateway, the WAN. So I have a guest network. And I created that. And I made one of these, and it's by the front door. So when people come in, if you want the Wi-Fi, don't bother me for the password. Just point your camera at that and say yes, and you're done. It's amazing. You can do calendar appointments. I've got to do this one. I've got to do this one. Right, let's say it's MacBites after hours. Because not only is this week our first birthday tomorrow, it's 50 shows next week. 50 shows not out. Is there a location? There is. Right, so let's put MacBites in there. Perfect. It's not starting at that point. It's going to be the 22nd at 2100. And it is, probably, if we're honest, that. Right, you can adjust the time zone if you want to put this out in a certain place, but we'll leave it at that. And let's see what happens. So, hover over it. Add to calendar. Do you want to add it to the calendar? Obviously I do. Let's add it to the calendar. And actually, handily enough, I've got to tell it which calendar. So let me put it on that one. But what you see there is the appointment. Now, for me, it's clashing with an appointment, which is the after hours. But it's that easy to add that. Maybe I should start doing invitations as well. And you can scan it in, and then Jonathan wouldn't forget it's Friday. Can you show us the app settings for the network QR code? Can't quite see it. Right. There's the Wi-Fi. There's the settings. So all it wants is an authentication type. You should know that from the settings on your network. So WPA, less secure than WPA2, obviously. And you probably don't have no security. That's not a good idea at all. And then you just need to give it the name of your network and the password of your network. You do need to say if it's hidden or not. Apple's recommendation is not to hide it. I don't know why. But you can say, no, it's not hidden. And there you're good to go. Now it says it's supported on Android with third-party scanners, but iOS 11 uses it with the built-in stuff. So even for yourself, that is a time saver. But to create a guest network, it's amazing because you're not managing just one network. You've got your little guest network and they can't get to your stuff. So it's amazing. Right, the other one is social. So you can say follow us on Twitter. So MacBites is the screen name. And let's go back to the camera. Let's see what it makes of that one. Do you want to open that in Twitter? Yes. So we'll go into Twitter and it should open the MacBites page. There we go. Oh, we are playing around. There you go. Now, the last one's very interesting, but I wouldn't use it. It's a bank transfer. That's fantastic, though, if you've got an event and you want people to be able to bank transfer you money by just pointing their phone at it, and then it will open up in whatever they have on their phone to do bank transfers. So because that one's a little bit trickier, there's an option to read about it. So those are the types it does. Let's concentrate on this Wi-Fi one now. What am I using to create it? It's called QR Factory. QR Factory. It's in the App Store, and Mike should have the link somewhere. If not, he will do in a second. I was going to say it's quite expensive, massive air quotes, but to be honest, for what it does, it's not. I think I got it in a sale, but its price is less than £20. £16. For what it can do, it's great. Now, my first thought was, yes, but I'm going to create this once and then that's it. But when I realised all it could do, I thought, actually, what you need to do is to be thinking, you've got this app, let's come up with some imaginative ways that you can actually use it. So the Wi-Fi thing was one. What I then did with this Wi-Fi thing, you can verify the code if it's verifiable. So if we look at this location one there, you should be able to verify that that is correct. With the Wi-Fi, obviously it can't, well actually it has verified that one, but sometimes it can't because it can't actually say whether that's good or not. Because it can't actually read the password of your network. But the most important thing here is the customize option. Because the customize option, why are you not doing this? Let's customize. Okay, I did that with that one. Let me come out and see what's wrong with that. I could have upset it by going through 27 different things all at once. But this definitely worked before, so let's get it up there and out of the way there. Right, let's go back to that Wi-Fi one and do it. So no, it's not hidden. It's called My Network, because that's criminal. And my password, which is even more criminal. Right, and let's customize it. That's better. Right, it's opened up on the wrong screen. But you've got this customize option. And these are the things you can customize. You can round the pixels so it looks kind of more digital. Most people are used to seeing them like that, but you can round the pixels if you want to. You can change the colour of the pixels, so you could have them any colour you like. You can also change the background. I would aim for some kind of high contrast, so don't make the front that colour and the back that colour or this colour because it's hard to read. Hence, most of them that you see tend to be black on white. But as long as there is some degree of contrast. Now, let's say on the pixels, let's make the background white, and let's on the pixels make that black. But this time, choose something different. Let's go for a linear gradient. And then what you do is give it a starting colour. So if we were to make that a pale blue, you get a nice gradient effect on there. And these still work. The QR codes still work. They're just a little bit more arty. Right, you can do the same with the background colour and have a different gradient on that. Well, that's probably not the best idea we've ever done. If it isn't working very well, you can change the readability level, which makes it more difficult to look at, but it's more precise. But the low one seems to work quite well. I always make, when I'm outputting it, I make it a little bit bigger. I tend to make it 2000 pixels square, just so I can fiddle around with it more. You also have the option to add an icon if you want. So if we are on the desktop there, I haven't got any icons, have I? But I think I got one. If I toddle off and have a look at it, there we go. I had a Wi-Fi logo icon. Did that one work before? Now, it gives you this if it can't verify it. And what it's saying is, it might not work if the colours aren't bright enough or if X, Y, Z, etc. And I actually think I can see the benefit of putting a logo on it, because if you just look at a QR code, you don't know which one it is, and a logo would identify it beautifully. If you're going to try doing that, make it quite small and maybe put a bit of a border around it. Like that, and then try verifying again. Yep, it likes it now. So always, if you're using a logo, verify it. But that way, you could put an icon on it that is, say, you know, your network name or whatever. This is my network. Right, having done all of that, you're ready to save it. So I hit the save button and I go to my desktop. And this one is my network. It doesn't stop there. You've got bitmaps and you've got vectors. So if you were wanting to scale it or edit it somewhere or maybe put it in a brochure, you could choose PDF or EPS. So we'll make it a PDF. And given that some of the formats here will let you change the colour space in case it's for print, you can even rotate it to make it quirky if you want. And then just save it. You've then got your file there. You open up your file and you've got your QR code. There it is. Isn't that just fabulous? We are loving that. Now, one more feature, because I need to get on or you won't be hearing Mike and that won't please him, will it? Is you can create multiple QR codes. So if you go there, is it possible to change the screen rather than via a webcam? What are we talking about there? Change the screen to what I'm actually showing you, you mean?
Because you were seeing the QR code via the webcam, and he said it's burnt out.
Oh, right. Okay. Looked all right on my side. Yeah, I can do that. In fact, well, actually, we're just coming on to this bit now, which is on the screen anyway. So let's go. We don't think we need. Yeah, we can go back to the Mac. We don't need that anymore. So let's whip over to there. Oh God, I see what you mean. I hadn't changed back. Oh right, Mike should have said something. Mike should have said something. I should have changed back to the desktop. Right, let me just show you that bit again then. Right, my mistake. My able assistant is obviously not as able as he thought he was. Good spot, Jonathan. Right. In here, what you need to do with that is, what had I done? I'd done the customize. I'd gone into there and I'd set a gradient, so solid, linear, radial. So let's choose that one. Excellent. Or linear. I'd chosen a background colour. I'd done the readability, so it just gets more complicated. More dots in it. I changed the output size, so it was a lot bigger. I'd added an icon in here. So all I'd done was click choose and gone and got it. I'd then change the size of it because it wouldn't verify. So if I have, the bigger I have that, if I then go to verify, it gives me an error and says, I can't verify this. So keep your icons just enough to brand it, but not getting in the way of the code, and then verify your code. And put a border on it if you want to, which puts a big stonking border on it if you take it up to here. It's thinking about it, bless it. I should have switched back, Jonathan. I didn't realise that I hadn't. Able assistant, not able, not able. Oh, it's having a rare old think about it now. There you go. It has made it much, much bigger. So that may or may not verify. It would depend. Now, the last thing that I was going to show you, so I'm going to come out of this because it's got all upset with its little self. Because my machine is in meltdown. My poor machine is in meltdown. Right, let's go back in. Right, so let's just put whatever that was. There we go. We've got a nice simple one. Right, and I'd been in and I had set some customization options on it, hadn't I? Which yet again opened up on the other screen. And I'd put linear and I'd put some colours on it, so like that. I'd said 2000 pixels and I'd exported it, which I did by doing save, choosing a file format, so I'll make that one, no, PNG is fine, and just save that out. So network for guests. There we go. And there's the code. And that's scannable. Right. The really useful thing is, and make life a whole lot easier, you can create multiple codes all at once. This is amazing. Would take more time to explain it all, but I'm just going to do it and show you. Hit the Show Me How button and it will take you out to Tunabelly Software's website. All you need to know from here is give me the numbers file. That's all you need to know. Save the file. In my downloads folder, I will then have said file. So I'm opening up this numbers file. I will make one change to it so you can see that there is one from me. But it gives you an entire file of samples. So there's text samples, email samples, URLs. Right, we'll go for this one. In fact, can we add another one? Let's edit this one. That one's for Google. We don't want Google. We want MacBites. So I'll put the URL in. Then you tell it what you want it to be called. So rather than URL example, let's put MacBites. In a PDF RGB format, what's this one? The rotational angle, pixel roundness, a gradient on it with 2 hex colours, transparent in the background, So I've got all the information in there. But you see there's a lot of others in there as samples and examples as well. I'll save that, but what you need to do is export it to CSV. And next, we'll put that on the desktop. So we've now got all of that information in a plain text file. There you go. We can lose that and then go through this process. Choose the CSV file to use. Well, that's simple enough, isn't it? It's on the desktop. That one there. Choose where you want the QR codes created. On the desktop. That's fine. And then you can choose... What on earth has happened in the background? Then you can choose, if you want icons on here, you need to tell it where the icons are, but I haven't got any, so I'm just going to create them. Go and create some QR codes. And it's that fast, it goes and creates them all. And all of them are different. Now, one of them should be the MacBites one in a PDF. So let's open up that. I'll point it at it. Let me see if that does go to MacBites. Do you want to open up MacBites.co.uk? It does! Fabulous! Fabulous! Right, one last use for this, which is even more useful. Right, let me get in here. And, oh no, I wasn't doing it in there, was I? No, I wasn't. I was going to open up Evernote, which may or may not be a good idea. Right, and in Evernote, I had some demos. So here's my Evernote, and I had a note, and it says demo using Evernote. Right, and there's some text that I'd like to share with you. Right, well, I can share from Evernote, obviously, can't I? I can hit the share button, and it brings up a share thing. Shareable link is off. Well, let's turn it on. Anybody with the link can view it. And there's the link. You know what's coming next, don't you? I've copied the link. I go into here, and I choose URL. I paste the URL in, and I'm done. So let's save that, and we'll call that Evernote. Put it on the desktop. You actually shouldn't even need that. If anybody's got the phone out now, point it at that, and let's see if it works. So I'm pointing at it. It says open in Evernote, and it's gone back to the... Yep, it's there. So let me show you what I'm seeing down here in the picture-in-picture view. That's what I've got on my phone from that QR code. And if you hover over it, you will be able to read that too. Any other uses people have for this? Because I do. I have printers, scanners, stuff like that, physical devices, the kettle, you know, the fridge, the fire that took one on itself this week. And you'll have online manuals. Put the online manual URL in there, print out the QR code, stick it on the side of the fridge, you're good to go. When it breaks down, which it will, point your phone at it, take you straight out, and there's the manual in front of you. It's brilliant. So as Deborah says, very useful for training when you want to fill in evaluation forms, or in fact deliver them follow-up stuff, PDFs in support of the training, or the next course in the training series, anything like that. People are getting more used to them. It's a technology that's been around for a while, and pretty much it was poo-pooed at the beginning because the iPhone took till iOS 11 to deal with it in the internal camera, and Android still doesn't. You need an app to read them, but it's worthwhile having an app to read them. Reading apps are usually free. Yes, interactive features in textbooks, anything like that. Because the benefit of that Evernote note is instead of me giving you a PDF, it's live in Evernote. So I can go and update it. And then you will always get the up-to-date version when you go and get it. So it solves the problem of the dead information that gets passed to you. Right, so that was the QR code bit. Let's have a look. Yeah, all of those things there that we've looked at. We looked at all of them. We just didn't save the SEPA bit. I wasn't asking for money. That's terrible. That's terrible. A recommended app for reading. If you're on iOS, just use the internal thing. Android, I don't know. Graham, do you know? Because you are, yeah, I know you're on Android.
I've got an app here.
Mike's got an app.
QR reader.
I've got QR reader, but I don't know if it's available for Android. If you don't want to use the built-in camera, then just look for a free reader app. They do tend to be free. Some of them will let you create QR codes. Now, as Jonathan's saying, get one for the Wi-Fi at work. Everybody will be your friend. They'll come to your office and point their camera at your QR code to get on. It's easier. You don't have to type anything. It would be very useful for meeting rooms. I told you last week that I'd been to a meeting and I automatically connected to the Wi-Fi, but only because I'd connected to it before. But I looked around the room and I thought, they're missing a trick. They could put QR code on the wall and do it that way. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, Red Laser I've used. I don't know if it's on Android either. That was the one I used to use before iOS supported it. So there's the ones that I created, and that was why people asked to have a look at that. So I've taken the time and shown you that. Right, let's head on to Mike's bit before it's too late and he's in bed. I know there's freebies, but I'm going to skip that because they know to go to Creative Market, and that means I can hand it straight over to you. So now you know what I'm doing, don't you? You know what I'm doing now when I go out. So I go out and on the other screen, I'm going to get, if my mouse pointer had come with me. My mouse pointer's going crazy. Right, now, didn't I need to do some jiggery pokery magic with you, Mike? As ever. I could do. No, didn't I need to share your... Was it Windows? What did I share with?
No, just share the desktop.
Have you got Excel open?
I've got Excel open on the Mac.
But you want me to share the desktop? Yeah. Okay, we can do that. Right, there's Mike. Any weird shenanigans, let me know, Mike. And of course, they will need to hear you. So let me get your volume up. Let me know if he's too loud.
And am I buzzing?
But you know, you were fine before, so I'm wondering if something's happened here. I've got you up as loud as you'll go and it's still not working, which is not good. So are you sure you've not done something?
I've not touched anything.
Okay, let's plan B it. I saw you were there a minute ago.
Shall I unplug this?
No, get the light on. I can't see what this is saying. I know it was working a minute ago. I'm back. But yes, it was working a minute ago. It's not working now. Let's have a look. There's absolutely no reason that you're not working, but you're not working. Try again.
Testing, testing.
No, you're as flat as a pancake, and I've no idea why. Okay, let's try. I'm wondering if I could unhook that one. I know what. No, we can't do that either. Oh, I nearly had that, but no. Now I need to think on my feet. What have you done?
I haven't done anything.
Check. There's not actually. You'll love this one. There's not actually much to go wrong. It's just not working. There's a cable and a microphone, and that's it basically. So yeah, it's just not working, and it was 2 minutes ago. Let me have a look what is going on at this end. Give it another try so I can watch the bounce.
Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow.
Oh, the fleece is back.
Is it back?
I can see it bouncing a bit, but it's not very loud.
Mary went. The lamb was sure to go.
Is my volume all right? Is my volume absolutely right?
Your volume is perfect.
Right, but yours is not right. There is absolutely no reason that it's not right. It's just not right. Okay, let me try something else.
No, it's not going to be my machine, is it?
No, it's not. Right, is Mike any better now? No, we've lost you totally, I think. Okay. Is this a keep commentary on? Yes, it is, because there's absolutely no reason that's not working. Now, what I could do is hand him my microphone. The tricky part with that is, it's on an arm and I'd have to unplug it, at which point, not going to work. And you're on your Mac.
Yes. There's another option.
Go on.
I go over there.
Yes, I know, but then you'd have to be on my Mac and that would be so annoying.
There is another option.
Go on, what's that?
Delay till next week.
We can't! It's Deborah's favourite bit! Oh no. You're just buzzing, so your Mike's audio has been a bit iffy.
I can hear myself.
Right, well let me take it off. Now you're not. Let's try again. Right, try again.
Mary had a little...
No, it's as dead as a dodo. So I have no idea what's going on with that. It's just not working. Right, I'll try one more thing. We will unplug me and we'll plug you in my channel. If that doesn't work, you are going to have to come over here. Right, try it again.
Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, the lamb.
Right, they can't hear you because I've not put you through. Right, you're through now.
Mary had a little lamb.
No, it's just not behaving itself. Okay, no idea why that's not working, but it's not working. So, no, come over here. Swap seats. It is then on my machine. Oh, not on. No, I'm not trying it again. I've given it up. I've given it up as a very bad job. So I've no idea what you've done with it. It was working 2 minutes ago. I haven't done anything. Oh, you're going to have to pay me back for this, Mike. Big style. Right, so we're looking at Mike's screen at the moment, but we won't be. We're coming back to mine, seeing as though I'm the only one with any equipment that's working. Right, what do you need over here, Mike? You need Excel.
I need my Excel file.
Right, well, don't say sneaking at it. Do you want to stick it in the black hole?
I'll stick it.
Okay. I'm bringing Excel up for you. There you go. I'm actually in Excel. It's a miracle. Right, there you go. That's Excel. Okay, we've seen Excel. Can we go on to something else now?
Yes, sounds good to me.
Deborah said we can come back next week, but no. Right, has the buzzing gone? Let me know if the buzzing's gone. That should all totally have gone. I have unplugged all of it. There is now just me, and I should be absolutely fine. We will have to work out what on earth is going on with that. But let me know if I'm good. Right, have you put the files in the black hole?
I've put one file in the black hole.
You'll see now we have the black hole. The mysterious black hole. See that? Black hole. What the black hole is a shared folder. So I'm just waiting for it to appear. Have you got a date modified on that?
Yeah, today.
Right, well, I'm sure it'll be there at some point. Right, okay, I'm going to swap with Mike then. He's going to touch my toys.
Touch your toys.
Yeah, this won't end well if you break my toys, Mike.
No.
And I've no idea where I'm going to sit. hopefully that file, it wasn't a big file, was it?
No.
And was it dated today?
Yes, dates and times it's called.
Yeah. Are you sure you put it in the right place?
Oh, did I put it in? No, I put it in the mic one.
Oh, for crying out loud. Can't get the staff. If I put M, that might work. Do you see? Aren't I good? Look, there you go. Opens that up. There it is. Dates and times. I'm just so good. Right, there we go. You're good to go. And it's safe to edit, but bear in mind you're editing the original in the black hole. All yours. Try not to break anything, dear.
Thank you.
Do you want a chair?
Yeah.
Tough.
Right. In that case, I'll stand.
No, go on. I'll give you my chair as well. There's nothing like a polished performance, is there?
No.
Come on.
Why haven't my notes updated?
That's your problem.
It is my problem. Right. I'll do it off the top of my head in that case.
Notes are so overrated, darling.
And I will save my other demo till next week.
Give me my phone.
My little tip. Right. Oh, and a mouse as well.
Yes.
A new mouse. Right. Dates. Right. What I've done here is I have put some dates into these cells. And I've formatted the dates in different ways. So, if I select those three cells and I go to the format option and select short date, what it's done is it's changed the way that those dates are displayed. If I go back to long date, changes it again. If I go and choose more number formats and choose a different date format, I can go to custom and I could put in there, for example, YYYY MMDD and click OK. So what that then gives me is a different format for the date. So basically, if you type a date in to a cell, you can then format that date in any way that that you like, either one of the predefined formats or you can do a custom format. But what I could also do is I could change those cells to general format, and what we're now seeing is we're seeing a number, and what those numbers represent is the number of days since the 1st of January 1900, because that is the date that Excel recognises as its first date. It doesn't recognise any dates before the 1st of January 1900. So I've actually put, if I just change those dates back, I've actually put the same dates in column A and column C, just really so that you can see the numeric value compared to the date. So I've got day 1 is the 1st of January 1900. Day 32 is the 1st of February 1900, and day 43,689 is the 12th of August 2019, which happens to be my birthday. But what I did is I just typed those three dates in and then I've removed the formatting. Now, it's not critical that you understand that behind the scenes a date is a number, but it does help when it comes to calculations with dates. And also there are some times where you will see the raw number, and instead of thinking what's going on here, at least now you understand that there is a number in the background. So let's have a look at what sort of things we can do with dates. What I've got here is an absence report, and I've got here that the first date of absence was the 25th of May and the last date of absence was the 28th of May. So if I in there wanted to know how many days absence how many days this person had off, then I can type in a formula. I can put May the 28th minus May the 25th, and that comes back as 3. And what it's actually doing is it's doing a calculation that says latest date minus earliest date. If I remove that formatting, you'll see exactly what it's doing. It's saying 43,248 minus 43,245. So there's no magic about calculations with dates. What it's doing is it's doing a numeric calculation in the background. That's all it's doing. It's doing a numeric formula in the background. Let's put those back to being proper dates. Now, in this particular situation, that's not right, because if John was off sick on the 25th, 26th, 27th and 28th, it's actually 4. But the formulas come up as 3 because it's calculating the difference between those 2 days. And that's fine in some situations, but in this situation, we actually want to add 1 onto it. There we go. Now, what if we wanted to take account of weekdays? Because all that has done is that has told us how many days there are between those 2 dates. And we're assuming here that it's a typical organisation where we just work Monday to Friday. Well, there is a formula that we can use, which is network days equals network days, open brackets. And that formula takes 2 parameters plus a third optional one. So if we say the start date, which is the earlier date, then a comma, as you always do to separate the arguments, and then the second parameter. I'm leaving the holidays one. I'll come back to that in a minute with a different example, but close the brackets and enter. And that gives us 2. So the 25th, let's actually format these as long date so we can see the actual day in there as well. So yeah, that's showing us it was a Friday. So John was off sick on a Friday and he was also off sick on the Monday, but it's excluding the weekends. So the network days function excludes the weekends. Let me show you some more examples of network days. So here we have a training plan for Catalina, and we're launching the software. We're upgrading our Macs in our company on the 6th of February next year, and I want to know how many days we've got to deliver the training, starting today. So if I was just to put in here today, open bracket, close bracket, which is a function, and that will give you today's date. I could actually just leave it as equals today bracket bracket, and that puts in the current date. That will change automatically tomorrow. That's the benefit of using that function. But I actually want to say, I've got this the wrong way around. I actually want to say the latest date minus today bracket bracket. And what that's done is that's actually come back with a date as the answer, which is nonsensical. So if I change that to a general format, which is what I showed you before, that will now show me that I've got 83 days in which to deliver that training. So it's just done a straightforward calculation, one date minus another. Now, again, assuming that we're not working weekends, then I can use the network days function. So equals network days, start date, which is going to be today, comma, end date, which is going to be the date of the launch, and that now gives us 60. So yes, there are 83 days between today and the 6th of February next year, but there's actually only 60 work days, where by default a work day is Monday to Friday. Now, I showed you there was a third optional parameter which I'm going to add in. So put another comma, edit in the formula, put another comma, and then select these cells here in column F, because those are our holidays. They have to be in consecutive cells, either down a column or across a row. And that now tells us, actually, when you knock off those days, we've only got 53 days in which to deliver the training. Okay, now there's another function which is very similar to network days. Equals network days dot international. Now, why didn't that come up? Network days dot. That should have come up. Let's try it again. I'll try it this way. There we go. For some reason, when I typed in the network days dot, it didn't pop up the autocomplete where it should give us a list of functions. But the network days international is very, very similar. So it need to select it from there. Hang on. I need to choose, that's better. I need to choose the start date, which again is today. The end date will be the 6th of February. And this time we have an option that says weekend. Now on the Windows version, it will actually pop up a list, but on the Mac version it doesn't. I'm wondering if it gives us that list by clicking on it. Can we get some help? No, that's not popping up either. But basically, there is a number that you need to specify. And the number is like a code that tells you whether the weekend is Saturday and Sunday, whether the weekend is Friday and Saturday, whether the weekend is Monday. Because there are different countries around the world that have different weekends. And off the top of my head, I don't know what all these codes are, but let's just pick 2, which I think is Sunday only. And then we'll have holidays there. As I said, it's actually easier on the Windows version because it does give you pop-up help as you're filling in these functions. So what that's doing is that is showing us or telling us how many work days we've got to complete this project. If we start today, if we finish on the 6th of February, we take account of those days as non-working days, but also the weekend is customized. So it might not be where you're working in a particular country where they only have one day as a weekend. I think, let me just try a different number. I think 11. Yeah, 11 is Sunday only. So if you work in a country where you only have Sunday as the weekend, but it could just as easily be you're working in a country where Saturday and Sunday are the weekend, but this project requires that people work Saturday. So that's the network days function and the network days international function. Okay, working out somebody's age. It's another use of dates. So I want to work out somebody's age, and theoretically I could just say today's date minus their date of birth, which is C2. That returns a date, which is incorrect, but if we change the format of the cell to a number, that's actually giving us the number of days between those two dates. So I need to divide that by 365.25, and that will give me the number of years. But before I do that, I also need to put this in brackets, so it knows to do that bit as one calculation and then divide the result by 365.25. And again, it's bringing up a date as the answer. Just copy those down. But if I change the format to general, then it shows me the underlying number. That's why I also explained the date basics with what the dates represent earlier on. Now what we can see here is that we've got a bunch of decimals. I could easily remove those decimals with the reduce decimal button. Problem we've got is if I got rid of all the decimals, because nobody says they're 57.7 years old, it rounds it up to 58, and I don't want that. So I'm actually going to edit the function again and use the int function. Int is nothing to do with dates. It stands for integer. So equals int, like that. And what we're actually saying is give me the integer part of that formula. So ignore the bit after the decimal place, just give me the integer part. Copy that down, remove the decimal places, and we've got the correct ages. And the last example I'll do is converting dates. So I have two issues here. I have dates which, one, have been formatted as American format, month, day, year, and two, have been entered as text. And we can see they've been entered as text because we have the apostrophe at the beginning of each entry. And if I wanted to sort those dates, so I go over to sort and filter, it won't allow me to sort by date because it's treating them as text. And if I wanted to do calculations, it wouldn't work either. So I need to quickly convert those, one, to date, not text, and two, change them to UK format. The easiest way to do it is to select them and go to Data, Text to Columns. Now, text to columns is used to split data in a cell into multiple columns. So an example of that would be where you've got first name and surname in a single cell and you want to split them into two cells. But in this case, I'm going to leave the data as it is and click Next. I'm going to remove the tab from the delimiter, so I have no delimiters. And I'm going to change the formatting to be date and to be month, day, year. So when I click Finish, what I now get is I now get a bunch of dates which are real dates. So if I wanted to format these or sort them, oops, go back to data, and then I could sort them. And it does give me oldest to newest, newest to oldest, but it's also got them in the UK format. Okay, so that is today's session on dates. We looked at date basics. We looked at how you can show the date, the number underneath. And then we've looked at different uses of dates, an absence report, network days, age calculation, and converting. It's only changed the format of those cells, Deborah, because those were the cells that I selected. So just those cells. Okay, that's it. I will pass back to you.
Yes, you'll have to shift. Come on. Right, I'm back. Have you left Excel up for me? That's very kind of you. Oh, you've got questions here. Have you answered the questions?
I've answered one.
Oh, you've got questions coming in. Questions. Right, do you need Excel up to answer them?
Probably not. Let me go and have a look.
Oh, clever. Right, I've just realised I typed something in and then because I got disrupted, I never got to send it. And it was a message for Roger. Crying out loud. Right, I put it. Right, the QR code. So, right, Roger, this should have been sent about half an hour ago, but there you go. Just found it languishing there. Right, okay, let's lose Excel. Do you want this saving or not?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Excellent. Right, well, we just now we fixed the network and we fixed the cameras. We now need to fix the audio. Yeah. Anyway, in other news, while my back was turned. While Mike was talking, I thought I'll just take a sneaky peek at the cameras. See where our beloved daughter is. The little minx. She's found a dark spot. We've got a blind spot on the cameras and she's sat there. Oh, I thought she'd gone out taking the car with her, but luckily, no, she's there. Right, okay, Blog 30. Yes, still deep in Blog 30, but news this week about Divi, which is the most amazing platform, as I think you've got from what I had to say last week. And I mentioned the Black Friday sale. Well, they've confirmed it. The Black Friday sale is indeed coming. There will be amazing discounts, according to the website. You can go preview it now. All that's missing is the price. So it's elegantthemes.com/Black Friday. And as it says, crazy discounts and free prizes. Now, if you are on their mailing list, you will already have heard about it. According to them, as I say, it's the biggest sale ever. And there will be freebies both for new and existing lifetime customers. Now, all this is happening on the 29th of November. Isn't that handy? 2 weeks tonight, which means handily we're live. So we'll be able to share all the details of that on the day. It is a very, very good platform. So I will be showing you one thing with it tonight and more next week about why I use it, why I think it is absolutely the best thing since sliced bread. So let's get Firefox back up again. Don't need that one. Not sure what we were doing with half of this, but one of the issues that you've got if you're using WordPress is the blog part of it, which is this bit here, all the news stories down here. These are great. They look fine. But when you do a search, everything comes back and it doesn't look right. And the other time it doesn't look right is when somebody's gone to a category. So that's actually the detail. But if we go back to a category, these are all the videos that I've put up there. And I love the posters, just not that big. This was the thing that I talked about the very first time I talked about Divi, and it was one of the examples that I said, trying to do what I'm about to do any other way would be a living nightmare. What I really want that page to look like is like one of the others looks like, this slides one, which is also a category. You can see in the URL at the top, it's my blog name, category, slides. And this one is category, videos. So it does beg the question why they look totally different. Because how WordPress works, it has a template and it uses that template live. So as you put in the search, it goes back to WordPress, it takes that template and it populates the search results into it. So technically speaking, they should all look the same. Obviously, this one doesn't look the same because I've overridden it. And there's a couple of ways to do that. And there's one way that's completely free. Code it yourself in PHP. Don't do that. It's horrible. The other way is Divi. And Divi would enable you to make it look like anything you want, really. I have done it manually before, not on this site. Nearly killed myself doing it on the other one, but I do believe on MacBites I did do that. We have a shows page on MacBites and we have all the shows listed. Now that is a results page, but this time they've come up with a tiny graphic and a little bit of detail. That would look much better, but that took ages to do and it's manual. That's why Divi is awesome. So what I'm going to do with this is live. Oh, this is dangerous. I'm going to make that page look very different. Make that page look right. So I'll open up another copy of it. So we won't refresh that one, but we will refresh that one. So how you need to do that. Once you've got Divi installed, everything's visual. There's no code involved at all, luckily. Unless you need to fix something. in which case it'll be put this code here. But inside Divi, they've added to the very latest version the theme builder. This is the bit that's your friend. So go into the theme builder. And you can see that I've got specific themes and templates already built within the theme builder. So I have that one there for category pages for the ASRF 4050. That's my slides page, the one that I showed you. This one is for posts in that page. And this one is for posts in blog 30. Now, the ones that we're actually looking at are these category pages ones. So it's those two there. You'll notice the difference. That says specific category pages, whereas these other two say posts. So what we're looking at is these ones up here. So I already have two. So I'll show you the... let's have a look at this one. First of all, let's go see it. The definition that we have in there is for that page, the slides page. Why is that open slides when it should have opened videos? But that's the slides page. That is what I've actually defined for it to look like. I'm going to make sure I've got the right pages. It's this one I need, isn't it? I need 2 copies of that open so we can refresh one and not the other. Right, that's better. No, it's gone to slide. No, it hasn't. Where on earth are we? Where have you put it? Oh, they're at the end. You should have opened it over here. That's what's wrong with it. Right, now we've got 19 of them and we don't need that. Okay, so those 2 pages are the same. This one is how we'd like it to look. The theme builder is what lets us do that. So I'll start completely from scratch and say, add a new template. The first thing you need to do is say to it, which pages or posts do you want it applied to? And it's going to be all of the posts that are in the video category. So it's not a page, it's not the actual posts, it's the archives, or is it? No, it's this one here. Yeah, posts in specific categories. Right. Just having a look at that. No, specific category pages is what I want. Where are we going? There we go, specific pages. Have they changed this? This is not good. I swear I did not do this. There we are, they've moved it. Right, specific category pages is what I want. You need to tell it which category. So when you're blogging, you tend to group your posts. So we've got the blog 30 ones, we've got the roof fund ones, I've done book reviews, courses, events. In this one, we would want it to be... Good night, Peter. See you next time. We'll be wrapping up shortly, actually. It'll be a short second session, given all the grief with the audio. But we're looking for the video one, so they'll be down the bottom. So I didn't want that one. I wanted specific category pages, video, and put a tick in the box. All you're doing with that is telling it what to apply the changes you are about to make to. So the specific category page for video, and then create the template. That's the minimum it needs. So if we look at what that one says underneath there, it says specific category pages for video, that one says for slides, and that one says for the roof fund ones. And I need to add a custom body. Now, you get a chance to copy it from somewhere else. Or you can actually build it from scratch, or you can add it from a library. So if you've already got one that's not far off, you could copy it. Obviously, for this demonstration, it wouldn't be great to just copy it, but I'll show you what we're actually trying to achieve, which is very similar to this one. Not quite the same, but very similar. We need a bit at the top that's got the whole content in. Then we need an introductory bit, which is the green bit, and then we need the rest of the page. That's what we need. So how quickly could we actually do that? So let's go back here. Add a custom body, and I'll say build a custom body from scratch. So we're pretending at this stage that I've never done it and we don't have one. So build from scratch, start building. Right, the first thing it needs to know is, okay, what columns do you want? And the way I had it, I think I had it 3 and 2. So 66%, 33%. Right, and then I need to put some content in it. So this one's going to be for videos. I'll put some text in it and I'll put an introduction. So again, it's all visual. I'm just typing it in. Your content goes here. So that would actually be introduction to the video category of posts. There we go. And that's over there. Excellent. This side of it, I'd want something else. So I might want navigation. I might want a contact form. Let's put that in and leave it alone as that. I do have content I can put in, but there's a contact form. It's that quick. Oh, I wish they'd had this years ago. I really do. Right. So we've got that bit of content in it. Now, the next bit of content is the actual content, if you're with me. So this one would also have that kind of layout. You could potentially, I'm just having a think. We could add it in another one. What did I do with the other one? Let's have a look at that. What did I do with that one? Because that's what we want. No. I know I've been into it. Just open it. Don't start arguing. Oh, I put the contact form lower. So I actually left that blank. So with a nice layout there. That's interesting. That was a good idea of mine, wasn't it? But we can fix that. Not a problem. So on this side, this time I want the blog post. I don't want to type something in. I want it to do it automatically. So put a blog in there. Now, how that actually looks is pretty similar, where it's got the big graphic and I don't want the big graphic. You can change all of that, but first of all, you need to tell it in here what you actually want. So post types, how many of them, and which categories they're coming from. And obviously they're coming from the video category. And in here, I can change the date format. So J is actually the day. And then you've got M and then you've got Y. So I'm changing that. Then you can have whether you use the excerpts, you can change the length of the excerpts, the whole thing. So you can make lots of different changes in there to that blog. But so far, none of them have made it look like the other one. So for that, go into design and you have layout. And you have two options. You can either have it full width, which is what we've got, or we can have it in a grid. And a grid is what we actually want. Doesn't quite look right yet, but a grid is what we want. So let's OK that. Now, partly the problem is the screen resolution that I'm actually working in. So hopefully all of that will fix itself. But just to show you the kind of flexibility that you've actually got available here, I put that contact form in the wrong place. If this was code, you'd have to be moving it manually. But it's Divi, so just drag it and drop it actually where you want it, which was in here. I think the reason that's not quite right is we probably need it setting to that. That's better. Now we've got two columns. Now, back up here, that's all very well, but it could do with some headings. So in here, I'll put video posts. And then on that, I will format it as a heading. So point of doing this is showing you just how visual it is. I'm not touching any code, not doing anything like that. In fact, that's pretty much done. Apart from... No, actually, that is pretty much done. That's it. That's all we need. You're going to see this page when you query it, and you want to see that back. So at that stage, you need to save it. Some of these take a lot longer, but that one is fairly simple. So we'll do that. And come out of there. Where we go. There it is in the builder. Make sure that we save the changes. So you do have to save the changes potentially 3 times. I don't know why. If you see a save button, just save it. Then we'll go back into the videos here, and with a bit of luck, boom, you're done. So now when people look for the category of videos. They get it in a nice format. And where that says introduction to the video, you can type what you like in there. Maybe you could do a CTA, a call to action. You could put in there, check out my latest video or check out my YouTube channel. And again, the only way to do that previously, it was a nightmare. The only way to do it previously was to hand code the thing. So all of those are my posts in that category, and you can navigate backwards to older posts in the video category, and there they all are. The reason that I hadn't done that before, remember, that was what it looked like before, and I've left it like that for years because I couldn't face doing it. But Divi makes it amazingly easy to do. So I just thought I'd show you one small thing with Divi. As I say, next week we will have more on Divi. I've got the footer to do, if you remember. When we did the blog audit, I said this footer, not good. There's not enough information. I'm not using the space very well. I'm not showcasing other stuff. So next week, I will design the footer. So by the 29th, which we're heading towards the end of blog 30 on the 29th, we should be in a position to have the whole of the blog updated, all of the content in there. And once we've got that, moving forward from the end of the month into December, I'll be looking at taking all of the posts and outputting those into a format via Scrivener. But I had stuff to cover tonight because people were saying these QR codes and how does that work? Which is great. I love to hear from you. I love to address issues that you're having. So let me know. I think everyone liked the QR codes tonight, didn't they? QR codes turned out to be far more interesting than you expected them to be. So let's whip into here. And where are we going from there? I have got something Scrivenerish, but I'm going to leave it till next time. I am going to go straight into next week. So same time, same place. It's our golden show. It's 50 episodes, which is nothing short of a miracle and amazing. So another little bit of a party there. I also promised last week, and this you're not going to want to miss. If you are of the dental persuasion, you may want to look away now. You've been warned. But we mentioned that we'd been off for a meal. We did one of our breakfasts, and we showed you the picture last week, and I said, we have toys, we have treats. These were the treats. All the Christmas cakes are out. Just look at the size of that. It's obscene. Look, I don't eat that. But the one to the right, oh, I like that one. This was a new one. This is the Bramley Farm. We've talked about this before. We know there's another one up in Blackpool. They're all over the place in the UK. That cake's about 12 inches tall. You liked that one, didn't you? Had Maltesers in it. Mike likes Maltesers. I love the fact they put the eclair on a sledge. But I did think they were sneaky with the carrot cake. That's the one at the back. Doesn't look much like a carrot to me. Could be too healthy. Jonathan, have you seen the place yet? Because didn't you say you had relatives in Hale? It's very, very close to Hale. You need to do the Bramley Farm thing. That said profiteroles. I don't know if you get the lot. Isn't that obscenely sickly? But yes, all the Christmas cakes were out. So there I was, busily taking photos for your culinary delights. That one was a sponge cake. We don't eat sponge cake, but Mike did like the look of it. That's the Malteser one from all angles. Nice. Kim, it comes with its own toothbrush. Toothbrush sales can definitely increase there. That actually looks like a torpedo, doesn't it? It's an eclair torpedo. That one is a cake that we've seen before, but they've Christmas-tised it. That one's a Mars Attack. So it's Mars bars. Usually the Mars bars are on the top. They've put hundreds and thousands around the edge, and I assume the Mars bars are on the inside. Usually there's green stuff on the... Malteser one for Graham. The Malteser one was smothered in Maltesers, believe me. I must admit, that's the one I would be having if I was having anything. That's even worse, isn't it? Because I'm pretty sure Kim's going to confirm that orange stuff on the top, the ready stuff, that's probably just pure sugar. Luckily, my teeth are virtually indestructible, apparently. But I've got to watch the stick, the perio probe. Yes, I shall frighten my hygienist next time and tell her I know what it's called. These cakes are just obscenely huge. What they do with them, they also do this with the meals. We discovered this for the first time the other day. There's plastic trays that you can take these cakes away in. It's called a cake away because they are absolutely huge. There's no way you could really, not without being sick, eat one in one sitting, especially not after a meal there. So they give you this plastic tray and you can take it away with you. But they also do that for the meals. So if you have a carvery, you can put on your plate what you want, and what you literally can't stuff up yourself, you can take home with you. I'm thinking we could go for Sunday lunch and get enough food for the week. Yes, that's a possibility this weekend. So yeah, that's that sneaky carrot cake. That is sneaky. Not a carrot to be seen. There's a mushroom on the top, but no carrots. So, yeah, as Graham said, don't think about it, just eat. We're going in on the second Friday in December. Our gang's going in. You saw the photo at the beginning of our gang. We're all going in, and we're having a cuppa and a cake. So we'll cordon off part of the entire venue, and we'll all pick a cake, and we sit there and we have cake and lots of tea. Simon, now's not a good time to be hungry for that kind of thing. So hopefully they'll have more by then, and different ones, in which case I will take photos of more photos. They used to be taking photos. I think they try and outdo themselves every week because they know I'll be in taking photos telling them they're going worldwide. So we had to share that with you. What we should do, Mike, is just buy in bulk and then send them out worldwide for Christmas. I don't know how long they take to get there, but they are pretty amazing cakes. They really, really are. Graham, you've spotted it. It's the carrot on his nose. Would that were the only amount of carrot in it. Having said that, Tesco's do a very nice gluten-free carrot cake. I must admit, it doesn't look like that, obviously. It's far healthier than that, but never mind. Simon, if you do, take a picture and send it to us. We had to share those, didn't we? Anyway, we're about to head off. So, if you've enjoyed yourself, give us a like. And of course, we've got our QR codes. Yeah, they work as well. So if you're not signed up, sign up to those. Flash your phone at it. You can do that in the replay as well. And I'll know. It'll send me a little Billy Do to say X signed up. So that would be rather cool. That's the use for the QR codes that I started with. But as you know from tonight, I didn't end there. No. And the best use is the manuals where you link out to it. So there's a code on a physical device and the network is to die for. Because I now don't have to take somebody's phone and put it in. I can just point and press. It's fabulous. So, of course, you've watched live, but if you want to watch again, catch anything else, you can always get it on my channel, youtube.com/ElaineGiles. And you can always contact us. We love to hear from you. We love to hear from you. So, I've enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it.
Oh, he's nodded off. I thought he's nodded off then. You're very welcome, Kim. I love sharing it with you. No, talking to you. I can ask the gang if they've enjoyed it as well. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you think of anything that you'd like to know or you have any extra questions, just let us know. We read everything. We really, really read everything. We also had mail this week, people talking about the compile thing. So more on compile next week. We're taking it to the next level. We are looking at more technical documents and how to get those out as well. I had a mail from Roger, and another one, not that Roger, a different Roger, and from Erwin, who may be with us tonight, maybe watching on Catch Up, all about styles in Scrivener and having a consistent look, which I thought was a fantastic idea. So we'll be looking at that as well. Glad you have enjoyed it, Graham. Fantastic. So we'll be back for the big 5-0 next week. Oh, how have we managed that? At what point, this is definitely for Graham and Jonathan, and I think, who else is a MacBiter? Who else listens to the podcast? At what point will the number of after hours shows be more than the podcast? That's your homework for this week. At this rate, work it out. Work it out. That would be really good. But for tonight, it is good night from me. Shout.
And good night from me.
Now the whole neighbourhood knows that Mike's going. We will attempt to sort out the audio yet again. What did you do to it? It was working.
Nothing.
Oh, I hate problems like that. Oh! But never mind. Now I've got to go and realign all the cameras because Madam has found a spot I didn't have covered. So that's my task for the week. And then
Where is she?
she's curled up in the alcove by the back door, the back room door, which is like 8 inches, and she squeezed herself into it. So she clearly knows that the cameras are there. So next week I will have another 4 cameras trained downstairs, and we will do live Lolacam. We'll see if she can hide from us. I actually thought she'd gone out. And I'm thinking she's a dog. Just a minute. She should be in the hall. But never mind. We'll be back next week. Until then, it's good night from me.
Good night from me.
We'll both see you next time. Good night, guys.